Are we live? Looks like we're live.
I think we're
I
live.
think we got a live one here.
It says we're
It
live.
says we're live, so I think we're live and we're both alive.
I'm alive.
Hello,
You're
Chris
live.
Black.
Hello, Jared.
Good evening and welcome to Any and All. I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Joining me is my producing partner and Kansas City Chiefs fan, Chris Black.
Yeah.
Washington
It's great to
Commanders
be here.
fan.
I'm great to be on this side of the camera, not on that side of the camera.
Chris is, in case you don't recognize him, go back and watch some of the episodes that he has been in.
Been a few.
They've been in a few so far. The Talmadge Roger Varnado III was planning on joining us tonight. Something came up last minute. He's got some personal things that took precedent that he's going to deal with. So before we dive into talking about football, we're going to pray for him real quick, and then we will get into talking about the draft. So if y'all would join us in a quick prayer for Talmadge. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this time that we have together. And Chris and I just want to lift up our brother Talmadge to you, Lord, and that just pray that you'll remind him that he is in your hands. He and everyone with him tonight are in your hands, no matter where it feels like they are. And I just pray that your mercy and grace will be with them and that you will love them in ways that only you can. In Jesus' name, I pray these things. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping by. We are going to be covering the entire first round of the National Football League draft tonight. If you don't know what's going on in the NFL, well,
You might be asleep
yeah.
at the wheel.
You may learn some things tonight. Then again, we don't know everything that's going on. As of about an hour ago, just to throw this out there, J.K. Dobbins is currently not on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb is currently not on an NFL roster. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, currently not on NFL rosters. Kirk Cousins wants to be traded, and there's rumors and nothing has happened yet. And what the heck is going on with Aaron Rodgers? So if you feel like you don't know what's going on, guess what?
Neither do
Apparently,
we.
a lot of people don't.
We don't know what's going on either.
No, I'm trying to figure it out daily. It's enough for me to keep up with what I want the Commanders to do. But also, as a Kirk Cousins fan, every day I'm trying to figure out, has someone made an offer for him yet?
Not
The
that I'm aware
Falcons,
of.
yeah. There's been speculation. The latest I've heard is that the Browns and Steelers are both very interested. Maybe that question gets answered tonight, but I don't know. No, heck, nobody knows because no deal has been made. So I don't know. I think. What do you think? Which of those two teams do you think makes more sense for Kirk?
For Kirk Cousins?
Yes,
We're talking Pittsburgh, and who else was the other one?
Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland just lost Amari Cooper, right? Didn't he just leave? Or is he?
He left. He went to Buffalo last
That's why-
year, but now
Oh,
he's
that's right.
unsigned.
He's unsigned.
Yeah.
So he's not there. So who they got catching the ball up there?
They've actually got some decent receivers.
Young guys, right?
Jerry Judy,
Oh, that's right. He
who
just
last
he
year
just came in last
had a
year.
1,000-yard receiving
Yeah.
season. Cedric Tillman was injured on the concussion protocol, missed the last 4 or 5 games last year, but was having a pretty good year. Then they got a pretty darn good tight end in David Njoku. So
you know what? They don't have much-
Pittsburgh did just trade for DK Metcalf,
yeah.
and they've got George Pickens and Pat Fireman. So there's weapons both places,
Both sides,
honestly.
I don't know. It's like I almost kind of want to lean Cleveland's way, but then again, you really you sit back and say it. What you just said, it's like, well, I kind of want to go Pittsburgh's way. You know what? I go Pittsburgh.
You think Pittsburgh's a better
I mean,
choice?
You got the tipping hat's Fryermuth, right?
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I was going to say, you think he's
I'm-
better than
I'm-
Njoku?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
just
know about
I'm
that.
just kidding. No, but I think with DK Metcalf there, you got a big resigning receiver there. You still have George Pickens, even though he's kind of out there a little bit on that edge in the sense that he doesn't have to shut up.
There's
And
that.
He has a bad attitude the majority of the time.
There's also that.
But-
Athletically, though, he's a pretty good receiver.
Right.
I will say that.
And so who do they have at running back? I can't remember because
Well, Najee
left.
Harris went to the Chargers.
Harris left.
They've got Jalen Warren, who's
Well, that's
pretty
right.
good.
He still stayed around.
But I would expect that with this year's draft class being so deep at running back, I would
They're
expect
gonna
they
get
grab somebody
They're gonna
else
grab somebody.
to pair with Jalen Warren. Same thing with Cleveland.
I was
Nick
gonna say
Chubb is
Cleveland
unsigned.
is unsigned.
They've got Jerome Ford. they could re-sign Nick Chubb, or they could draft a younger guy to pair with
I
Jerome
think
Ford.
they're gonna get somebody in the draft
I
because
think
you
so,
don't,
too.
I don't think they're gonna re-sign Ford. I mean, they got Ford. They're not gonna re-sign
Re-sign Nick Chubb.
Nick Chubb. So he left his knee there in Cleveland,
Yeah.
and he's not.
Think about how crazy it is. 2 years ago, he was still one of the most dominant running backs in the league. It would have been unheard of 2 years ago to say this guy's nobody wants him on the roster.
Well, and here's something you got to think about is he took a significant injury to that knee, right?
Oh, he had 2 off-season surgeries.
Exactly.
In 2023.
Right. So he comes back last year.
Plays
It
less than
didn't-
half a season.
Right. So
Didn't look near
I'm
the
fairly
same.
certain now you really think about it, this guy's not going to come back and play at a high level right after the surgery. So it could be another year.
We've seen the
It could
last
be-
of prime Nick Chubb, I think.
we could. Maybe he's got a couple more years. I don't know because of the injury. I don't know which way he's going to go.
Right.
Is he going to be able to regain that strength and trust that knee
Right.
and be the Nick Chubb of
How
old?
much power does he still have
Or
left in those legs?
Is it done and he's just biding his time till he returns his retirement
Yeah.
papers?
I think probably he's got some left in the tank. I think we'll
I think
see
he's got-
better
I hope-
than what we did last year,
I
but
would
I
hope to
don't think
see-
he's going to be back in
Yeah,
prime level.
I would hope to see that he's got something left in his tank. But
I think surely he
You
does.
just can't tell. You don't know
Mhm.
until it's upon us.
And the
and-
fact, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just you just can't tell.
Yeah, and I would say I mentioned the fact that he and J.K. Dobbins are both still unsigned. That says a lot about the top end talent and the overall depth of this year's running back class.
Right.
I think that's a lot of these teams are going. Do I want guys that have had injuries and have usage, or do I get a 21, 22-year-old
Yeah.
right out of college?
Well, the other thing is like if you've seen and watched him, and obviously the Browns organization has been watching him because he was in it with them,
Right.
and so they know the tendencies. They know whether they trust that he trusts that knee or not. But you got to have a good quarterback that takes the pressure off that running game.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't have a quarterback able to take the pressure off of that,
Right now, Cleveland has Joe Flacco, who could start.
oh wow.
They also traded for Kenny Pickett. And when they traded for Kenny
How-
Pickett,
So not to change the subjects, but how come when I see him riding? So right now, Commissioner Goodell is riding a old Cruiser 50 style bike out onto the stage.
does it remind you of Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure?
I was gonna say, and now they're there's-
Bicycles.
He's a rapper, whatever his name is. I don't listen to his music, but Lil Wayne.
Lil
That's it.
Wayne,
That's it,
okay.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah, so apparently he's here on a
I
bicycle.
don't listen to his music, so I couldn't.
Maybe he's
honestly tell
from
you, but
Wisconsin, or maybe he's a Packers fan. The
maybe-
draft is
maybe
in
so.
Green Bay.
Well,
That's
okay. That's Packer great.
Did one of us remember this
Yeah,
legendary Packers
Matthews.
linebacker, Clay Matthews?
Matthews.
Yes, I was like, yeah.
It's been a minute since
It's been a little
since
time
played,
since
so
he
it's-
played.
Gotta remember.
He's only got brothers and
All right, we're gonna
dad
turn this
and
up a little
uncle.
bit because I'm deaf as a doornail.
Tell us in the chat if the TV. Can you hear us? Can you hear the TV? Is the TV louder than we are?
Too small for this, with a population of 107,000.
Once you get logged in, tell us in the chat. Tell us who you are. Tell us who your favorite team is. Now, on that note, Chris, we've got a little time before we get to
Obviously,
your team and my team's draft picks.
but it's mighty.
Do you have
Yeah, we can take a
someone?
nap at that point.
All right, we got Grady Tucker
Welcome us here tonight.
from Cross Church, North Richland Hills. He's here. Go Cowboys. He's a high school senior.
Where are they going?
Bethany Bowman's here. Loud and clear. All right.
Just want to know
It
where the
might
Cowboys
be
are
might
going.
be one of Bethany Bowman's sons, Stephen or Alex, or maybe both of them. Maybe Benjamin's with them too.
You seem to know a lot of these people.
Well, these guys go to my church. They're in the youth group at my church. They know Daniel Simmons very well. Also,
Mr. Simmons.
Mr. Simmons, who's
He's
been a guest.
He's Mr. Simmons.
Mr. Simmons to me. I could call him that.
I do.
Daniel's been a guest on the channel a few times thus far.
Yes, Mr. Simmons. No, Mr. Simmons.
Indubitably, Mr. Simmons. All right, Grady and Mr. or Mrs. Bowman, whoever's. All right, Caleb Cole's here. All right, Caleb Cole wants Cam Scatterbo in the top 10. He's a Dallas fan, even though he didn't type it. I already know because he told me.
We'll see what happens with Scatterbo.
I'll be honest. I think Cam Scatterbo will be a pretty good NFL running back. But if you want him, I would wait till the round. I'd wait till about round 3.
Yeah.
And you can probably get him around 3 and then get a receiver in round 1 or a defensive end in round 1.
I don't necessarily see him being a top 10.
I think Scatterbo, and this is not an insult, and actually I'll get some Caleb Cole believes in Scatterbo. I do too, actually. I think he's a darn good football player. I think you can still get him in the 3rd round, though, and he'll be just as good in the 3rd round as he would be if he got drafted in the 1st round.
Nice. They just went up there and
I see.
opened up a envelope and said the Bears still suck. That's almost as funny.
Grady Tucker wants to know, is Shedeur a bust? Very good question.
That remains to be seen.
That
So,
remains to be. I'll go ahead and tell you what I think. This is all speculative because we just don't know.
everything we have to say is
Everything we had to say is speculative at this point. Shedeur, I think there's a possibility he could be a decent NFL quarterback. I think on the absolute peak top end, and just hear me out, he could maybe be about like Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins. And the reason I say that, neither one of them have great arm strength. Neither one of them are overly athletic. But Shedeur is pretty smart. So if you put him in a system where he has weapons like Tagovailoa does in Miami, fast guys that can catch and run, maybe he could be that in a few years. I don't think right now.
He's not going to come out and set the world on fire.
No, that's
at
what I'm
all
saying.
In his rookie year, I mean,
He
he really needs to sit behind somebody.
I concur.
He doesn't. They don't need to throw him out to the wolves. And I think if he was to go somewhere like, in New York is
They
the
got
Giants,
Russell
they
Wilson.
got Russell Wilson now. That wouldn't be a bad place for him to
Yeah.
go and learn behind.
If he
him,
sat
sit
behind Wilson
him,
for a year,
a year or two. Actually, probably he needs to sit there 2 or 3
at least
years.
one. Yeah, we'll see.
The more you sit, the better you are. You sit that couple of years. You saw that happen with Rodgers,
Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers behind Favre,
Favre,
and then Jordan Love behind
behind
Rodgers. Yeah.
I think he's throwing them out there a year after they've been drafted. I don't think they had that chance to develop. Now, there is one exception to that rule.
2 exceptions to that rule.
Yeah, that's true. He came out his rookie year and was bombing away. But, some guys can do it. I just don't think Shedeur is going to come out like the world.
No, I think, and I said Tagovailoa for the peak level. I think I could see Shedeur maybe having more of a Geno Smith career, honestly. Geno Smith's not a bad quarterback. He's just
done
not.
well the last few years.
Yeah, he's not dominant. I kind of see Shedeur being that way. Caleb Cole says, when is Ashton Jeanty getting drafted? Most of the mock drafts I've seen, and my gut feeling
Raiders.
has him going to the Raiders at number 6. And the Raiders could use him. And now that they traded for the aforementioned Geno Smith, they don't really need a quarterback right now.
No.
So I'll be shocked if Jeanty makes it past the Raiders. Actually, on the way here today, I heard some speculation that Jacksonville might take Jeanty at number 5. Now, they've got Travis Etienne Jr. and Tank Bigsby, but neither of those guys really tore it up last year. So
No, they didn't. But they're
I'd be a little
serviceable-
surprised. But
Serviceable running backs.
they are serviceable running backs.
But,
So
there's a difference. Ashton Jeanty is
they have to really want
a little
Jeanty
bit
pretty
better.
bad. So and they might. I don't know. I think it's very likely. Then again, Jacksonville may be floating that out there to hope somebody like the Raiders or Bears will trade up and
Right.
give them
Give them something
some
to-
more draft capital. because they'll be scared that they'll take Genty.
So right now we've got we've got the Titans on the clock. Just about 7 minutes
The
left.
Titans are on the clock. I think the whole football world knows what they're going to do.
Yeah, the question is they're going to wait. They're going to wait until they find somebody to try to make a.
They're
Try
going to
to
see if
trade
anybody
up.
offers them.
If anybody
anything.
trades up and gives them what they want, they're going to take it. So they're going to take it down to the most likely down to,
Yeah,
to
but
zero almost before they call it.
I will say
It's most likely to be Cam Ward.
I will say this. The Titans did nothing on the whole offseason to address their quarterback situation,
No, they didn't.
which means they're pretty much settled on Cam Ward. If they trade that pick, they better get a serviceable quarterback in return in that trade.
Well, it depends
Otherwise,
on-
why would you do that?
Yeah, because
What else are you going to do? You're getting Will Levis again. You're just rolling with Will Levis again.
you really want to roll with Will Levis.
That's why I said they better get a quarterback in
See,
return
you've seen that happen
if they make that trade.
last year. That was
So Grady Tucker, Caleb Cole told us he wants Scatterball in the first round. What do you think, Grady? What do you think, Bowman's? Who do y'all want to see Dallas take at number 12?
The two things that everyone wants is great decision making and accuracy.
you're not waiting on them to respond.
No, I'm just
Through
throwing
you.
it out there, and then
You
they
got
respond.
off-
They
you got off-
respond.
You got awfully quiet.
I'm waiting to hear them come through the speakers. Yeah,
All right. So it looks like they're already making a phone call.
yeah. I
And
think
there's a
they're-
lady there beaming and very excited. So I'm thinking they're talking to Cam Ward most likely.
Hey, I don't know who else they would be.
I mean,
Grady. Grady Tucker says sell the team.
Cowboys? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. Cowboys need a new owner.
I don't
They need
think
a new
any of
general
us
manager.
would disagree with that. Oh, yeah. Hey, if they can find somebody that is interested and has the money to do it,
Yep.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think Jerry's going to be there until he physically can't be, and I think he's got family taking over. So I don't know. Somebody's got to give them a heck of a haul, I think, to make that happen.
Jerry is just going to be around forever. He's sold his soul to Satan. So he'll live forever and antagonize and kill every
Let's be here
Cowboy
to
fan.
haunt all the Cowboy fans.
Exactly.
Chris actually used to be a Cowboys fan, believe it or not.
I grew up as a Cowboy fan, and then I saw the light. And then light is not because it's Mahomes.
Hold on, let's be a little more specific.
Okay.
Chris was a Cowboys fan when they had Tom Landry.
Yes.
He changed his mind when
Yes.
Jerry Jones bought the team.
Yeah, almost. I didn't root for them when they won their titles.
Yeah, when they
But I started following Kansas City about 2014,
Okay.
2015.
Now
So,
here's a good question from Caleb Cole, and I'll let you take this one for sure first, since you're the Chiefs fan. What do you think of Cameron Ward being compared to Patrick Mahomes?
Hey, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the guy's inventive. You've got to. Here's the deal. It's not about dropping back and throwing 80-yard bombs. It's about moving your team.
How often
And
do you have the
sometimes-
chance to do that anyway?
Exactly. You're gonna. There are years where your offensive line is horrible, and Kansas City's had that multiple years. So sometimes you got to run, and if you see a guy wide open, you can make passes, and that's what they're talking about. And he's probably watching the draft now and
Oh,
seeing
I'm
exactly what they just showed.
Yeah,
It's the creativity, getting the ball out to receivers that are open.
yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. I think it's a good comparison.
It's hard to compare anybody to Mahomes with what he's accomplished, but as far as
Yeah.
saying
But
there
I
may be
don't-
some future potential there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think we're looking at he's going to be Mahomes. He's going to win the next 3 or 4
We
Super
can't,
Bowls.
yeah, we can't know
We don't
that.
know that. We
Too much
don't
that's
think that's going to be the
Contingent
case.
upon the team around
But I
him.
think the skill set.
Yeah,
That's what that's what we're looking at. We're
about.
talking about that. So
The
all right,
pick is officially in.
they take Sador. I'm leaving.
I'm just gonna erupt into laughter.
So with Talmadge.
He would.
Cameron Ward.
There we go.
Hog vomit on rotten Worcestershire sauce and riboflavin. The Tennessee Titans shocked exactly no one and drafted Cameron Ward, quarterback from the Miami Hurricanes.
I have no idea what you just said. You had diarrhea of the
Chris
mouth.
needs a translator over here. I mean, it was sort of like
It
I
was
did
just
say
kinda-
Worcestershire sauce,
kinda
so
blah, 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 blah.
just an eruption.
Yeah. All right, Cleveland's on
Cleveland
the
is on the clock.
clock. All right.
Oh, hold on.
Okay. Oh, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville Jaguars have traded up.
A second round pick, number 36, a fourth round pick,
Oh.
number 26, and the first round pick of the Jaguars in 2026. The Jaguars.
Jacksonville must have wanted that number 2 pick awfully bad.
All right. So here's the question: who are they going
Wow.
for? Ashton Genty? I mean, that's early to take.
They
him.
wouldn't have had to move up that far to get Genty. though.
Right. Exactly. So who could it be?
It's got to be
So
Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. Surely.
it's got to be one of those.
Why in
two.
the world would
Couldn't
you
be
trade
Shadur.
up like that? No, Shadur will be there, and Jacksonville's got Trevor
Yeah, he would.
Lawrence.
Shadur will be there later.
He'll
so why
be
would you
there.
do it? But
That's a pretty big because they were already at number 5. There's somebody that they want awfully bad to
Man.
trade up, and Cleveland was willing to trade back to number 5, but they got
they
quite a
so
bit in
they feel
return.
comfortable they're going to get what they
they're
want,
still going to get what
and
they
they
want.
just got a haul.
They got a pretty good haul in return, so that was not a bad move for Cleveland. I was just getting ready to say, if I'm Cleveland, it's Abdul Carter or it's Travis Hunter. I'd probably lean towards Abdul, but you can't really go too wrong with either one of those
Yeah, I
guys.
agree. I mean, I like Abdul Carter, but man,
Abdul can wreck an offense. He is a beast.
the opportunity to get Hunter and having split time on both
Because
sides.
here's
now,
and if you're Cleveland, they got some pretty decent young receivers. But if you put Travis Hunter at corner and mix him in, provided they actually get a quarterback at some point, yeah, that Travis Hunter's a good fit with Cleveland too. I wonder who Jacksonville wants to do that.
it's
You know what?
I guarantee you, it's got to be one of those two guys.
If it's not, I won't know what to think. I'm gonna just take a guess.
I'm going to go
here.
with Hunter. I'm going to go Hunter.
I am too. What's your reasoning? Because I got something I just thought
Because one, he can play both sides of the ball,
about. Yeah.
and he's a weapon at receiver. Shockingly enough, because we saw Dion do it in the '90s, but he wasn't as much of a
He
weapon.
didn't play a
offensive-
lot of receiver. He did
Cowboys
play
didn't
some.
Play him there, but he played
Yeah.
some. But Henry can play. Travis Hunter. I'm
Hunter.
going to say Henry. Travis Henry. Yeah.
You know,
He
he's been
can
out
play
of the
too.
league for a while.
Anyways, I think it's going to be Hunter.
I do too, and here's why I say I just remembered, to my recollection, I don't have numbers in front of me, but to my recollection, Jacksonville had one of the worst secondaries in the league last year. So I was like, you know what? They might have thought it was worth trading up if they want to start him at corner, and they've already got Brian Thomas Jr.
Yep.
They've got, I think De'Ami Brown just signed with them. They got a pretty good young tight end in Brenton Strange and should be starting now that Evan Ingram went to
You
the
can put
Broncos.
him in the
So you
slot.
can mix him in with
Put him
those
down.
weapons,
Yep.
and
So
I
agree.
could see that.
I think it's Travis Hunter.
If it's anybody other than Hunter
It's
or
going to have to be.
Abdul, I
If
won't.
it's not Hunter, it's
I'm
Abdul
not
Carter.
even gonna know what to think.
Yeah, if it's not either one of
But-
those two, I don't have a clue.
I'm with you. I think it's gonna be Travis Hunter, but we will find out soon. So here's a question I'll throw out to you, Chris, and to everybody in the chat.
Okay.
So last year we saw 6 quarterbacks go in the first round, 0 running backs. So far we've seen 1 quarterback go in the first round. How many quarterbacks are we going to see in the first round this year? Would you be more surprised if you see 4 quarterbacks slip into the first round? Do Shadur, Jackson Dart, and Jalen Milroe all somehow slip in the first round? Or would you be more surprised if it's only Cameron Ward and Shadur and everybody else slips the second round? Also, how many running backs are going in the first round?
But
GMT
people
and who
like-
else?
People like Dart. They like Dart. Now the question is, do they like him Dart
Is
enough?
they first
to take
round?
him in the
Like,
first round?
yeah.
And Milroe, I just don't think Milroe is going to go in the first round. I think he's a second or third round quarterback,
Mhm.
just because he's such a raw talent.
Yes.
He just is not polished enough.
He's got the best arm strength,
Yes.
but there's a lot of mechanics. There's a lot of consistency. He's got to work on the turnovers.
Yeah.
He's more of an athlete than he is a quarterback, is what everybody's saying. I'll throw this out there real quick about Milroe. I do like him. I'm a big fan. I hope he's great on the next level. I don't know what he's going to be, but I'll just throw this out. 2 guys in the past few years that everybody was saying They're probably going to have to move to receiver. They're athletes. They're not quarterbacks. Both these guys were drafted as backups. Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. Look at them now.
Yep.
Not saying Milroe's going to be on that level.
Yeah,
What
would
I
say
am-
he would be.
No, I don't think he will. But what I am saying is a lot of what's being said about him now, people maybe have forgotten. But that same exact
That's
stuff is being said
said
about
about
Lamar
those guys.
Jackson and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
And look where they've come. So
All right, the pick's in.
what I'm
and
saying
they are-
is we never
they
know.
are awfully excited. So,
Pick is in. Jacksonville looks elated. Travis Hunter's on the screen in the background, if that's an indication. Maybe they're just going to show his disappointed reaction when Abdul Carter's name is announced.
that would be funny.
This is the young man.
This guy looks like my older brother. If I had an older brother.
I was going to say, do you have an older brother that I've never met all this
No,
time?
no.
I know your
I
younger
just-
brother.
Yeah, with shaved head.
Oh, okay.
Good looking guy. Shaved head.
Oh, okay. That's a connection you made there.
All right, come on. Let's get out here and let's just announce what it is.
Pick is in. Honestly, Jacksonville almost can't go wrong because they've got so many needs on their
Yeah.
team.
They've got some.
Almost no matter who they draft is going to be somebody that can help them. They've got the great Gabe Davis in their receiving room.
While we are here tonight to celebrate the 32 young men entering the NFL,
Burp.
I'm honored to take a moment to recognize a player who's made a profound impact on and off the field.
All right.
The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, recognizes one player each year who best represents
About to
greatness
announce the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
both on and off the field and in the community.
Some of you may not know Walter Payton. He was a dominant running back for the Chicago Bears back in the late 70s and through the 80s.
Eric Armstead.
Eric Armstead.
Well, he won it last year.
2024 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year. Walter Payton Man of the Year.
First off,
Okay, that's kind of
Gotcha.
sure.
Must be a Jacksonville thing. I don't know.
Must be.
All the Jacksonville fans are excited there.
Thank you to the Payton family and the NFL and Nationwide. And also, too, tonight I want to encourage each player embarking on the NFL journey to identify a passion close to their heart and act upon it. Use your platform to make your community, the
And
league,
hurry
and
up.
this world a better place.
It's like they need to start playing the music like they do at the Oscars.
The wrap up
It's
music.
wrap up. It's like
Da,
wrap it up.
da,
Wrap
da.
it,
Da,
wrap
da,
it up.
da, da, da. He's saying this stuff that this is his opportunity to make this heartfelt
This is-
moment.
this
And
is
you're
my
like,
platform.
okay, move
This
along,
is my
move
platform.
along.
All right, shut up. Let's move on.
Ah,
The Cleveland Browns have traded the second pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm
Okay,
glad-
we are aware of
we
that
know
part.
that. I'm so glad.
sorry,
that
I
he's
wasn't.
on
I
top of it.
wasn't impatient until he did that.
Yeah.
Like we already know that.
2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select
Travis
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Defensive back from Colorado.
All right, Travis Hunter of Colorado does go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not going to read too much into this, but did you notice when they announced him, they said wide receiver, defensive back. They did say wide
They
receiver
didn't
first.
Say, they didn't say defensive back
No.
wide receiver. They did say
Whether that
receiver.
means anything
Yeah.
or not, I don't know, but that
I don't. But interesting enough, on the
on the screen,
it had cornerback, wide receiver.
Yes.
So, obviously,
is that a slight
I-
indication that they plan to use him at receiver heavily?
he wants to be a receiver. He
Oh.
wants to be.
He wants to play
He wants to play
both.
both. But he
And
wants
that's
to
not
be on the-
realistic.
He wants to be on the offensive side of the ball. Something he's not typically
Hey,
done.
this young
I mean, in
man,
the sense that he's not there all the time, right? He's not there every.
in Colorado, he pretty much did play full time.
Well,
But
he's not going to play that way in the
that's
NFL.
what I'm saying. Young man, you're a phenomenal athlete, but
But the NFL is going to say, we want you corner, we want you
we
receiver,
want you
or
one
the
place
other,
or the other.
but you're not going to play that full time.
I mean, the stamina it takes. Plus, Talmad's brought up a good point in one of the episodes we did. Just going to all the positional meetings, how much you have to mentally process. And you're going to go out there, if you're a starting corner, are you going to go out there and cover and try to contain Justin Jefferson for 3/4? And then suddenly we're going to put you on offense to try to, I mean, you're going to do some, but you're not going to be out there trading touchdowns with Jefferson and then trying to shut him down the other end.
No.
I'm sorry.
He's a phenomenal
Nobody's
athlete.
that.
Don't get me wrong. He's a
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal athlete. I just think that, look, here's the deal. In college, you're only got on a field at any one time in college, you probably only got what? 5 or 6 starters, 10 starters,
To go
maybe
NFL starters?
NFL level starters,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah, it's easy to be the best guy on the field, right? You go to the NFL, guess what?
Everybody on those
Everybody's
rosters
good enough
are,
to be
yeah.
in the NFL.
Otherwise, they're not in the NFL.
Exactly. So I think he's going to find, and he may struggle a little bit.
Oh,
a little
yeah,
bit,
he will.
you know.
And that's not an insult to him.
No,
That's
I'm not
just
trying to
that's the
insult him.
reality.
It's just the reality of the fact that you're going to have to contend with guys that may be faster than you.
Oh yeah, he'll run
Most
into some
likely
of
are
that.
gonna be
Yeah.
fast. You're going to run into a problem when you got an offensive lineman, or a defensive lineman that can outrun you.
Or at least they can, yeah, a linebacker that can run you down. I mean, there's
You come across the middle and you get lit up
You get
by a linebacker
slobber.
who's a good 50 pounds heavier than you.
Oh, at
and he
least,
stands
yeah.
over your crumpled body on the ground. And you're looking up going, I just want to play quarterback again.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
if he played nothing but full time receiver, he might be the best receiver in this draft.
You got to take one or the other. And
But-
that's what I truly think. But, hey, look, he's a phenomenal player. I'm not going
Yeah.
to take that away from him.
I think this was a good pick though. Because like I said, Jacksonville almost can't go wrong because they needed
Well, Sunshine needs somebody else to throw to.
yeah, and they need help on defense too. Like they need help so many places. This is certainly
I
Not
would
a
be
bad
really
move.
curious to see, how well does he do? How often do they play him? Yeah,
On
on
offense?
both sides of the ball.
yeah.
That's what I'm curious. So I guess we'll find out.
I mean,
We'll have to wait 4 or 5 months.
yeah, well, we'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and find out. I would think the most likely scenario is that he plays corner for the most part, and we'll see him some at receiver.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah, that's me too.
To be announced at both positions, receiver and defensive back. Congratulations.
And he just followed that up with receiver and defensive back.
Yeah, so they did say
They're-
receiver first
They
twice.
are leaning into that. Right?
Again, how much do we read into that? I don't know. But
Oh, the Giants are pick is already in.
all the Giants picks in, we hadn't even talked.
No,
Okay.
So
At this
maybe on
point,
Travis Hunter.
with Travis Hunter off the board, I think the Giants have to go with the dual Carter.
Oh, absolutely.
He is a beast on defense. While I do think Shadur is a good fit with the Giants, to what you said earlier, playing behind Russell Wilson, this would be a squandered pick when you got a dual Carter on the board. Go ahead and get a dual now.
Completely agree.
And if you can get Shadur later, great. But right now, I think you got to get a dual Carter.
I agree.
I don't know why on earth they wouldn't.
I mean, why would you draft a backup quarterback number 3
When
in
a
the
dual
first round
Carter,
when Abdul Carter
when
sitting
the
on
best pass rusher, in
that would be something that Jerry would do.
Cowboys fans, what do y'all think? Tell me if you disagree with that. But all right, the pick is in.
Boy, they are. Every one of those guys are so stoic. I think.
Honestly, if I'm the Giants, I'm pretty happy. I've been happy with Travis Hunter or doing Carter.
What's funny about that video there, that picture, is looking like neither one of those guys could pass gas. if
They
wanted
all
to.
looked. Well, I was just say they all looked constipated.
Yes.
I want the Giants to draft Shadur, so they keep losing. That's Grady Tucker.
That's
That's a good
point.
strategy. Hey, I'm also an NFC
Yeah.
East fan. I don't disagree with that. It is, of course, Abdul Carter. They actually make a smart move. The Giants organization that is not the most impressively run in the business. They do take Abdul Carter.
You know I don't like the Giants, and I don't like their front office, but that is a smart move.
This was the best move they could have made it. If I'm New York, I would have been happy. I'd have been sitting there waiting and going, okay, whoever that doesn't go number 2, I'm happy. I'm taking
Yeah.
Travis
Oh,
Hunter. I'm taking Abdul Carter. I'm ecstatic either way. But as NFC East fans, all of our Cowboys fans, the chat, Caleb Cole, Grady Tucker, and myself, now we got to see Abdul Carter twice a year. But
Yeah.
that's okay. Jaden Daniels got to deal with getting blitzed by this guy twice a year now. But hey, that's okay. I'm
Well,
confident in Jaden.
I
He'll
think
be
you.
all right.
I think you. When we were talking about it earlier, I think you made a comp for him.
We're talking off camera.
Yeah, before we started this was Micah Parsons.
Yes.
So that'll be interesting to see that.
I think he could be Micah Parsons level. I mean, if I was Cleveland, of course they traded out, but my thought was, man, put him and Myles Garrett on both on the ends of your defensive line.
That's that'd be painful.
They would-
Your opposing quarterback.
I would not want to play
That's
that twice
no-
a year. My goodness, I wouldn't want to play against them ever.
Oh, hey,
Okay, there's
that guy's a little too excited.
I was gonna say it's Trevor Lawrence's brother.
He's the one that can throw the football over the mountain.
Right. Yeah, Abdul Carter, 6'3", 250-pound pass rusher.
Interesting enough, he comes out of Penn State, where Micah Parsons came from.
That is very true. Penn State's had some great linebackers.
So they're going to have a good rivalry
Oh
for
yeah,
years to come.
they'll be compared
until
to each
Michael
other.
leaves in the next year or so, because Jerry can't pay him, or Jerry
He'll
won't pay
pay,
him.
somebody will though. Somebody will pay Micah Parsons.
Well, somebody's going to get paid. He's going to get paid.
I don't know.
It just may not be by Dallas.
They got to figure some
If
things
they're
out.
smart, they'll pay him. But
If
I
they're
think
smart, they would have locked him up already.
right. But we all know Jerry. He's not all that intelligent.
I love that Cowboys fans don't even disagree with that.
Well, it's kind of hard.
It's like, what are we gonna say?
They've realized, some of them have realized that Jerry Jones is the biggest or the largest crack dealer in the world. He sells every Cowboy fan a bag of crack before the beginning of the season, and we're going all in.
Oh yeah,
And
we're
then they
going
signed
all in.
What? They signed their long snapper.
Ezekiel Elliott,
Yeah, we
and the
signed
long
Ezekiel
snapper. Yeah.
Elliott.
All right, Abdul Carter.
What was that moment like after your name was called with your dad and the rest of your family?
Yeah, it was surreal. I wouldn't be here without him. I'm just blessed. Thankful for my family. Thankful for everybody who helped me get to this moment. I can't wait to celebrate this moment with my family.
You grew up in Philly. You grew up an Eagles fan.
Oh, he grew up an Eagles fan. Now playing for the Giants. Hey, I bet he don't care.
Well, everybody on
I
his
bet he can't wait to hit Jalen Hurts now, though.
Everybody on his block hates him now.
That's all right. They can live. I'm sure he can live
That's
with
all right.
that.
That's all right. He's moving his entire family out of Philly.
All right, congratulations.
Well, yeah, maybe now.
Yeah, they'll go somewhere upstate New York where they got.
Well, I'll say,
big
too,
house.
This is going to be an obvious statement I'm about to make, but when you take somebody as a top 10 pick, you expect them to step in and start right away and be dominant. That's what New York just
I
got.
would just say that would agree.
And that's what
He's
they
gonna
just
step
got.
in. Like I said, this goes back to what we said before. Very similar to Micah Parsons.
Yeah,
Micah Parsons stepped right on the field
from day one.
day one,
He was
and he was a
dominant.
beast. He
Yeah.
was a beast. So, we're gonna go to a commercial break. I'm so excited.
Actually, this will give me the so. Chris? Do you have any specific guys or even positions that you want the Chiefs to take with the first round pick?
Man, that's a good
It's
question.
going to be a while before we get to their pick.
Yeah,
but,
it's going to be late into the night, like 10 o'clock
yeah,
or whatever
you know,
time, 9:30, 10. I don't
whatever
know.
time. Yeah,
God, they've got some holes, and I love to. Nobody wants to go. Whoo! Yes, I want to send it to. I want the. I want a flashy player, but let's be honest, we might need to have an offensive lineman of some sort. But honestly, they can
can't have a great
offense.
offense without a great offensive line.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
it may be a situation where we need to take a look at another cornerback,
cornerback.
defensive tackle. They can use another tackle. Their ends right now, George. Furious George is what I call him.
Karlaftis.
One end.
Mhm.
Charles Menahue is on the
Yeah.
other side. So you're pretty much set with your two ends. You got Chris Jones in the middle wrecking havoc.
Hey, you're pretty
But
set with
it-
Chris Jones. Yeah.
And then I cannot remember. I was reading on some things that there's a defensive tackle that just eats up running the run game, and I cannot remember his name, and it's killing me.
I mean, there's
But,
some good defensive tackles in this draft. If you're talking about somebody that's going to be available when Kansas City picks, I'm not sure who that is.
I don't either. I mean, they're picking late, so it's hard to know for sure.
Yeah,
But I just don't think you can go wrong with a defensive tackle, cornerback, or an offensive lineman.
yeah,
If there's a good one available.
yeah.
There's 3 or 4, in this that make it 4 minutes. Just kind of depends.
I would say with the
I don't know.
Chiefs, and I'll say kind of the same thing for Washington because Washington has the 29th overall pick. I'm really interested in best player available because when you draft that late, I don't want to draft. I don't want to be stuck to a position.
Well, you don't want to do that. Period.
Right? Yeah, you don't ever want to do that.
Unless you're like Jacksonville and you have nothing but holes.
Yeah, when you're drafting this early, you can do that.
You can do that.
I wanted the Commanders to do a trade for Myles Garrett. That's what I wanted.
Did they not get your email?
No, they have not responded to that. Jaden Daniels hasn't responded to coming on the channel yet. We got some communication gaps we gotta seal up here. But
We could do a Zoom call with Jaden now.
I'd be more than happy to do that. That would be indubitably my genuine pleasure. But that they weren't able to work that out with Myles Garrett. So unless they can do a trade for Trey Hendrickson tonight, I'd like to see them take a pass rusher. There's a few that I think could be available. Well, Samar Stewart, Michael Williams, I'd love either one of those. I don't know if they'll be available. Princely Malian, Mike Green, Donovan Ezaraku. If any of those guys are available, probably. Donovan Ezaraku played for Boston College last year. Had, I think, 16 and a half sacks. So I'd be okay with that for a first-round pick. If Jalon Walker, he's an outside linebacker from the Georgia Bulldogs. If he's available, I'd be happy with that. Jahad Campbell's an inside linebacker from Alabama. They've got Bobby Wagner, and they re-signed him, and he is a great linebacker, but he's not going to play forever, so I wouldn't mind Jahad Campbell.
Getting a little long.
The Patriots pick is in. We didn't even talk about them. I think it's going to be an offensive lineman or a defensive tackle, or maybe Tetero McMillan.
Will Campbell.
There you
Will
go.
Campbell from
LSU.
Louisiana State University, offensive tackle.
And I said it earlier, and he looks like
Looks
a
like,
walking dollar
looks like
bill.
a walking dollar bill. Hey, when you got a young quarterback that you want to build your team around with Drake May, you got to protect
You
him.
got to protect him.
Offensive tackle is a smart move right here.
So that's, hey, you know what? He was a stud at LSU. So
Now he played. I'm assuming he was there. Did he start when Jaden Daniels was there 2 years ago?
yeah,
Okay. 6'5", 319. He's got pretty good size there.
he's gonna play left tackle most likely. That was his natural
I would
position at
imagine.
LSU. So
Yeah.
Drake May's a righty, so that's going to be
That's
his blind
protecting
side.
his blind
so
side.
he's going to be playing that most likely.
Yeah, I think this is a good move. Like I said, that Patriots are another one that I think could have gone a few directions. I wouldn't have blamed them if they took Tetero McMillan this early because he's a receiver.
The receiver. I actually
And
kind of
they-
wondered if they might
They
take the
didn't.
receiver.
They don't have a dominant receiver. Honestly, New England doesn't. But Will Campbell, I will not disagree with this pick at all.
Sometimes you got to build from the trenches. I mean, ask Harbaugh.
Yeah,
You got to build. You got to build in the trenches, and that's what he does.
if your line's not already in
So-
place, then that's what you got to do.
So we'll see how he. We'll see how he.
Yeah,
plays
I
for-
think it's a good move. How it turns out is anyone's.
He may not. He may not
Speculation.
play. He may not like playing in that cold New England weather, but
I don't know who on earth would like playing
I mean,
that, but
since he was down in sweat box of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
oh well, that's true too. Yeah,
But when you're getting paid a ton of money,
you tend to be able to adapt to certain
you tend-
things.
you
Yeah,
tend to just, you're fine.
yeah, good move for the organization. Good move to keep Drake May upright as much as possible.
See what did that say? With 6'3",
6'5", 319.
So what is Drake May? 6'6", 6'5"?
He's about 6'4",
Is he
I
6'4"?
think.
A little less than
so
what I thought.
close to the same height as this offensive tackle. All right, now Cleveland's on the clock. They were willing to trade back to pick 5. They missed out on both Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter.
So
Clearly, they
obviously-
thought it was worth it.
They obviously weren't going for those 2 guys.
Well, I
Because
think they
had to-
would have, but they thought it was worth what they
But
did.
my point is they had to have some other target in
Yes,
mind,
they had to be okay
knowing
with
they
this.
were okay that they weren't going to get them.
I'm going to throw this one out, and it might be a little crazy. We just talked about the fact that Nick Chubb's probably moving on. What if they beat Las Vegas to the punch and take Esther Ginty right here?
Boy, that would. You know what? Being a Chiefs fan, I would laugh so hard at the freaking
At the Raiders. That wouldn't be a terrible pick. Well, the pick's in. We're about to find out. Anyone that joins the chat, please let us know who your favorite team is and who you want to see them take in the first round. All right, the pick is in for Cleveland. There's a lot of ways they could go too, honestly. Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, wouldn't be a bad move here. But Ginty, I didn't even think about that, but it wouldn't be a terrible move.
I bet they go Ashton Ginty. I'm gonna rubber stamp that.
Okay, we're rubber stamping it. Chris is rubber stamping that one. Looks like we're about to find out. I wouldn't be shocked.
Good grief! Somebody get him a rolling scooter because he's walking slow.
For Cleveland to be willing to trade back, they got to make this pick count. And there's plenty of ways to do it. But yeah, Ginty would definitely be a way to do it.
I'll never be able to repay them for what they did for me.
I know you spent a lot of time with Patriots staff and head coach Mike Vrabel. What do you like about the culture that he's building there in New England?
Well, I forgot Vrabel moved up and he's going to be their coach.
Vrabel's the Patriots' new head coach. That's correct.
He likes to
have a physical, aggressive
He wants
team.
a physical, aggressive lines is what he wants.
Oh, yeah.
One thing's for sure, quarterback Drake May has to be happy about this selection.
Hey, Drake May just might have gotten a new best friend right here. You keep him upright and healthy.
This night is not just about the analysis, but it's about the opportunity for these young men.
Take another drink of my Dr. Pepper here.
Yeah, I believe we're sponsored by Dr. Pepper because that's what I'm sipping on too.
Right, there we go.
I'm sipping on
We
Dr.
ought to be at this point. I drank it on every episode. All right. Cleveland Browns, the pick is in. But they're still not telling us who it is.
Maybe we could let Travis Hunter do all the picks because he's obviously fast enough.
He can multitask, right? That's his way to sell it to us.
Because Goodell walks like an old fart.
Well,
he is an old fart, but you know what I mean.
Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan.
All right.
I'm not going to say it's a surprise because I expected him to go pretty high. But I couldn't help but think they might go S&T.
Well, now that what you all heard was a collective sigh by every Raiders fan and the Raiders organization.
I have a feeling the Raiders were on the
take
phone
Ginty.
with Cleveland
They
before
will-
that
they-
pick saying,
they
hey,
may have. Stay away from our running back.
Now here's the thing. If the Raiders go a different direction here, I'll be a little surprised, honestly.
Oh, I'd be
Mason
very
Graham,
surprised.
6'3", 296-pound defensive tackle.
Big boy.
This guy's a big, powerful guy that can get into a backfield without too much trouble. So, yeah. Well, think about this. I talked about Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett being on the same defensive line. Now they got Mason Graham. They can line up beside Myles Garrett or 2 spots over. So this is still Cleveland's kind of a lot of their success is predicated on their defense. So this is certainly not a bad move at all.
No.
Yeah, he's a big, massive, powerful guy.
That's a big human
Again,
being.
you got a day one starter. I don't see any way that he's not
I
gonna.
don't see him not starting day one.
I can't imagine that he wouldn't start.
He's able to stand up and rush or bull rush.
I mean,
or
every
he
one of
can
these
get down.
highlights, he's just bull rushing straight through with power. He's got pretty good speed. He's got pretty good bursts and speed when he gets through there too.
People think that nose tackles and free safeties can't make plays. He is a disruptor and playmaker.
I'm surprised the Raiders already put the pick in.
Better as a pass rusher. Can his pass rush?
I don't think there's anything to think about for the
I
Raiders
don't-
at this
I don't
point,
think so.
unless they've been thinking about some other ththings that we just don't know about.
Whatever they do, they need a new owner as well. Have you seen that bowl haircut that owner gets? Oh my gosh, it's just about as
That's-
bad
that's
as
your-
about as bad as a little bowl haircut Jared gets.
That's your biggest complaint about him is his hairstyle.
Dude, have you seen that hairstyle? Would you like to Google him?
Yeah.
Guy would drive from Vegas all the way 3 hours.
All right. I got my cousin Joel some wheat logging into the chat.
What's up,
He,
Jolson Wheat?
he predicts a Bears trade up for Genty.
Okay.
That actually would not be surprising. If the Bears traded up for the Raiders to get Genty, that would not be shocking at all. Because we know the new head coach in Chicago, Ben Johnson, he likes to run the ball.
Yes, he does.
Look at Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs and DeAndre Swift, the Bears starter last year. I don't know that Ben Johnson's that big a fan of him because DeAndre Swift was released from Detroit
He was in
when
Detroit.
Ben Johnson was their offensive coordinator. So Caleb Cole says, is Jalen Milroe getting drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders?
That's a great question.
What do y'all think?
That's a great question.
Yeah, y'all may think I'm crazy.
I'd say probably not.
I'd say probably not. But y'all may think I'm crazy. Y'all probably already think I'm crazy.
No, we know you're crazy.
If you know me, you already know I'm crazy.
He's not an art doing it.
Milroe, I think, has a higher ceiling if he can get everything worked out. That athleticism, the arm strength.
He needs to go to a team that has the head coach is quarterback driven. In other words,
He needs the right offensive
he
system,
needs the
offensive
right
coordinator,
to
yes.
develop him. He needs
But I
someone to
think
develop him.
if he and Shedeur both hit their peak level, I'd rather have Milroe. Y'all tell me if you disagree in the comments. Tell me if you disagree.
No, I
Peak level, but here's the big question. Will Jalen Milroe get to that point? I can't, as a Jalen Milroe fan, I don't know. I can't say that he will. Jolson Wheat, you still don't want the Broncos taking Jalen Milroe and trying to use him like Taysom Hill, right? I sent him an article where somebody was predicting they may do that. Caleb Cole says, I agree, but I think he may get drafted. You think Milroe might get drafted higher? We'll find out. I don't know. Crazy things happen sometimes.
Yeah, Jamarcus
Russell.
Russell.
I was about to say.
Jamarcus Russell taking number one.
Google
He's
Jamarcus
stunned.
Russell if you want
For
to
you
find
young
out.
guys, yeah, Google that. It's not good. All right.
No surprise to anyone, the Raiders do take Ashton Genty with the number 6 pick in the draft. My condolences to all the Cowboys fans that were hoping that Genty would
He's gonna
be.
fall to 12.
Yeah, I really thought this was, besides Cam Ward going number 1, this was the other pick I was the most certain about.
Yeah.
I would have been really shocked if Las Vegas passed on him, unless, like Jolson said, if the Bears had traded up for him. That's about the only thing that maybe would have kept this from happening. Yeah, Genty, just a phenomenal athlete. Everybody, a lot of talk about, but he played at Boise State. I get it, but when you put up that type of productivity and he runs like a 4.45, he's got great balance, breaking tackles. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm going to tell you who he reminds me the most of. And you might have to go back and look because it's not a current player. LaDainian Tomlinson. That's who, peak level, I could see Genty maybe being another LaDainian Tomlinson. He's a little shorter than LaDainian, but that's the overall game. That's who he kind of reminds me of.
Because I didn't watch him last year. How is he out of the backfield as far as receiving? Did they even throw the ball much to him?
Not his junior
That was
year.
LT. That was LT.
It was mostly handoffs, but his sophomore year he caught a lot more passes.
Okay.
So I think the receiving skills are there. But yeah, you're right.
That was LT's thing. He was not only a stud runner, but he was also a deadly receiver.
Jolson says, my cousin Jolson Wheat says the hopes now is for Amari and Hampton to be, hopes for Amari and Hampton are questionable with the Bears needing a running back. Might just stick with DeAndre Swift.
They might.
They might.
That's why he'll be successful.
Then again, this running back class is so loaded.
Yeah.
They could get a pretty good running back in the third round. I said earlier, I
Oh, they're
think,
saying the comps there is Emmitt Smith. Oh.
Emmitt Smith was
you know, I think Genty's more explosive than Emmett. That's not an insult. Emmett was a very good a great running back.
The difference between Emmitt and a lot of running backs can't talk. Is he knew how to make defensive
Emmett had
players
great
miss.
vision. I
He
think
knew how to
Genty's
turn
more
his body
elusive.
in such a way to make you miss.
Yeah, he also had one of the best offensive lines and a
Yeah,
great
well,
blocking
that-
fullback.
You know, almost anybody can run behind that line.
Yeah.
You and I can run behind that line.
I could get a couple yards now and then.
I could
if
pull a
had to do
hamstring
that.
about 3 yards in, but I still get that 3 yards.
Okay. Broncos fan Joelson Wheat says he'd be good with drafting Tedrow McMillan and then taking Scatterbo in round 2. That wouldn't be a bad way to spend your first 2 picks.
Right.
If I'm a Denver fan, I'd be very good with that
As
as
a Chiefs
well.
fan, I don't like that idea.
You don't want to have to deal with that
I don't have
twice
to
a
deal
year.
with that twice a
You're
year.
gonna have to deal with Ashton Genty twice a year already.
I got to deal with that already. Deal with Scatterbo
And Genty.
and McMillan.
And well, yeah.
Because you're going to have to deal with McMillan.
Yeah.
If he was in that system
If
with
Bo
Sean
Nix,
Payton and Bo Nix. And Bo Nix already had a really good year for a
Bo
rookie.
Nix had a very good rookie season,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
they've already got Cortland Sutton. So if you give, and they traded for, or they signed Devin Ingram in the offseason.
Yeah.
If you give him those other 2 weapons, the Broncos got a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, it's funny how we've ruled that AFC West for so long, and now everybody's starting to come right back up to us
Yeah.
and catch up with us from a personnel perspective. And it's just like, could you people stop that?
That's
please?
what-
We like what we're doing.
That's what people always say, though. It's really hard to get to the top. It's hard to stay there.
It's hard to stay there. Yeah, absolutely.
That's with anything. That's why there's a difference. And I'll say this in sports and in any organization. So many people settle for being good and don't ever reach being great. That's why you gotta keep pushing to be great. Yeah, Ashton Genty did play at Lone Star High School in Frisco, Texas. You know what? Genty is, from he played his high school ball in Frisco area. Might as well try to get him on the show soon too. Why wouldn't I want to do that at this point?
I mean, we're going to try to get Megatron.
Oh yeah, Calvin Johnson, Ashton Genty. I'll just get y'all lined up one after
Oh,
another.
you mean Calvin Johnson? I thought you were talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the actual
I thought you
Transformer.
were talking about Transformer.
I haven't reached out to him yet.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. If Optimus Prime doesn't like it,
I thought he died in the 3rd film, but
you may be right.
I thought he
I'm
was killed in the 3rd
not
film.
real versed on that at this point.
I've watched them.
When I
once or twice.
was in elementary school, the cartoons were a
17.
daily
I didn't
thing.
watch the
but
cartoons either. That was beyond my
when I was a kid,
time. It was the films.
I was watching the Transformers cartoons.
But anyways, yes,
daily.
no, we get
Ashton Genty. Yeah,
get the real Megatron,
And the
actual
Calvin Johnson.
Calvin Johnson.
I would certainly.
We're talking
be
to you,
okay
Mr.
with that.
Simmons.
That's
You
right,
need to
Daniel
set that
Edward
up.
Simmons. Oh, so yeah. So far, the only real surprise was Jacksonville trading up, and they must have wanted Travis Hunter pretty bad.
Well, obviously they did because that's what they did.
And clearly that is what they wanted to do. Now let's see. The Raiders had the number 6. The Jets are now on the clock, number 7. Keep in mind, they've got Garrett Wilson. They've got Brees Hall. They just signed Justin Fields in the offseason. What do you feel like they might do? You got to look on your face like you have an idea.
No, I don't have an idea
Oh,
at all.
okay.
I'm just sitting here thinking, what are the? It's the Jets. I mean, they're just below the Cowboys at just being poorly run organization.
Well, there is that.
God, I don't know. They need it. I look at. You need a quarterback. You can't. You got to go in
They
there.
just signed Justin Fields to a 2-year deal. Yes.
I know.
Yes. So I don't think they need a quarterback. Who they
Are
going to
you
draft?
gonna say he's your starter?
Yeah. Heck yes. Justin Fields.
You might as well go get Danny Dimes. Then.
Yeah, no, I'll take Justin Fields.
Actually, Danny Dimes, I think, is a backup.
He's
quarterback
on
in-
Indianapolis.
Or is he in? Okay, that's
Yeah,
the way.
no, I'll take Justin Fields. I believe in Justin Fields. I think we haven't seen the best of him yet.
Well,
One
no,
day
we
I
haven't
may-
seen the best of him yet
No,
because he keeps getting bounced around.
exactly. But when he was in Chicago, they weren't winning a lot of games, but he actually was pretty impressive. His second year in the league, he had 1,000 yards rushing. His passing numbers aren't great, but if you use him the right way and don't ask him to be Drew, you're not getting Drew Brees when you have Justin
All
Fields.
right,
If
who's
you
their,
realize
who's their
what you
coach?
have.
Who's their coach?
Aaron Glenn, I believe, just
That's
signed with him.
right.
He's a defensive
I was trying to
coach.
be, yeah. So, question is, are you going to have a decent or a developmental quarterback coach and offensive line or offensive coordinator that's going to be able to
See, I don't
develop
know who the offensive
He-
coordinator
He,
is.
he needs somebody to help develop him because he's raw talent. We know that. He's
I
been
think
that
he
the whole
needs
time.
offensive coordinator to
But-
call the right system for him.
All right, here we go.
Jets pick is in.
Armand Membu.
Armand Membu, offensive tackle. That's not a
All
bad,
right. Well,
not a bad move there.
they want to keep him
Offensive tackle from
upright.
Missouri, yeah. Jolson says Tyler Warren, lock it in. So that was Jolson's guess for the Jets. Tyler Warren wouldn't have been a bad move. Add him to that offense with Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields. But yeah, getting to 6'4" and a quarter, 332 pounds.
I like to see how big this guy's arms are. Well, longer arms, you can get
You can hold people back a little bit, yeah.
Keep those rushers out.
Yeah,
Those edge rushers out a little bit. You get them further away from you.
yeah, oh yeah. This is a good
They say
move.
that like the 34-inch arms is what you want.
I mean, it's like we said with Will Campbell. You got to have a good offensive line or your offense isn't good. So this
Obviously,
is
they're-
definitely not a bad move.
They are signifying they want to keep Fields upright.
Yeah, and that's what you want. But yeah, I don't think there's any way Justin Fields doesn't start this year. I mean,
Well, I'm not saying he's going to start. It's just when you want to have somebody that will give you his money, make it hard decision.
I really would.
I would.
I'd be comfortable. I think I'd be comfortable rolling with him as my quarterback.
Which is the most of any team.
You'd be a good
absolutely
Jets.
would.
You'd be a good guy in the front office of the Jets. My
Hey,
friend.
I would have made that move for Justin Fields. Think about it this way: he and Brees Hall. If you call the right offense,
Second round selection, Marion Barber.
he and Brees Hall running the run pass option. Why wouldn't they be dangerous at that? You call the right plays with Justin Fields. I think he's all right. Jolson says for the Panthers, Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan.
Okay.
That would certainly not be a bad move. The Panthers are another one that I'm going to say they need so much help. Almost anyone they draft would be a good move.
Right. I agree.
Give Bryce Young another weapon. I think Tetaroa would be a good move here. I think Will Johnson is a very good move here. I think taking Michael Williams or one of these other defensive ends would not be a bad move. Panthers need help everywhere.
They need so much help. It's not even funny. So,
I mean, it kind of is funny.
well,
Contingent upon your sense of humor.
unless you're a Panthers fan.
If you're a Panthers fan, not necessarily, but Talmadge and I just did an episode that has not aired yet, talking about Bryce Young and Anthony Richards, what we see kind of as far as their potential future. So y'all wait about a month or so and check that one out. But yeah, we'll see, Jolson. You may be right. Will Johnson may be
It could be the
the
man.
Panthers pick. We haven't seen a defensive back go yet, and I think Will Johnson's likely to be the first, at least the first corner taken. Cornerback's another position I wouldn't mind seeing the Commanders taking number 21. If there's not any really good defensive ends on the board, let me see. Johnny Barron, cornerback from Texas. Savon Rebel from East Carolina. Benjamin Morrison from Notre Dame. Trey Amos from Ole Miss. Azariah Thomas from Florida State. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. I'd be happy with any of those guys at number 29 from Washington. But I do want Washington to take a running back in this draft. Not because I don't like Brian Robinson Jr. I do like him. But this running back draft, it's so deep at running back, this draft class. What I don't want, because Robinson's about to enter the final year of his contract here.
Yep.
What I don't want is him to pass on one of these guys in the 4th round, and then that guy go on and actually be really good on another team, and then Washington go, oh, we could have maybe taken him. I'd rather grab one of these guys because it's such a deep class.
So let me ask you this. You're the general manager
Of Washington?
of the Redskins.
Okay.
They are not the Commanders, so let's don't be this woke crud. They're the Redskins. What round are you taking your running back?
That's a very, I'll tell you, because I've thought about this. If at pick 29 in the first round, if there's not a defensive end that I think is worth the first round pick, there's not a corner. There's a couple of safeties I like. Nick Emanwari out of South Carolina, monstrous hitter, and Malachi Starks from Georgia. If none of those guys are on the board, I might go ahead and take Trevion Henderson at number 29, running back from Ohio State.
Okay.
Speed, explosiveness, pretty good receiving skills. Put him in that offense with Jaden Daniels. I would love that.
You know what that would remind me of?
What's that?
A little bit of the Ravens this past year.
Yeah.
Maybe obviously he's going to be a little. He's not
He's
Derrick
not
Henry.
Derrick
He's
Henry.
not Derrick Henry size wise,
But the same
but
effectiveness.
You got to deal with a two-headed monster.
Yes.
You know.
And Brian Robinson's a solid short yardage. He's a bigger, stronger back. Trevion's got more speed.
And the other thing is I think Jake Daniels is a better passer than Lamar.
Possibly.
I think he's a much better passer. He may not be faster.
They're pretty
I know
close
they're pretty close.
speed-wise,
But
yeah.
I would say probably Lamar is probably faster than Daniels. Though Daniels can
He
make
might be. I don't know.
but I think Daniels is a better passer.
He might be. Lamar this
Lamar has
past
had
year.
to really work at his passing.
I was just saying, it took Lamar longer to get there. Right now, Lamar might be as good. Consider as rookies, Jaden's a better passer.
That's
For
absolutely.
that stage of their careers.
And he's just
yes.
going to get better as it is.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. But if they take one of those defensive ends, then I wouldn't. If Trevion's not available in the second round,
Yeah.
then I'd rather wait till like the fourth round.
Fourth.
And I've got a few guys.
The question is, do they have a third round pick?
They do not have a third round. They
So
have a
they'd have
fourth
to take
round.
so you have to wait till the fourth.
Yeah.
You don't
But
take one in the second, you take it in the fourth.
if Devin Neal or RJ Harvey or Brashard Smith or Dylan Sampson are available in the fourth round, I'd be happy with either of those guys as well.
All right, then.
Panthers pick is in. Let's see if Jolson's right. Tataroa McMillan,
Okay.
wide receiver from Arizona. Hey, Bryce
So
Young
Bryce
could use a
Young's
weapon
got-
like
He's
this.
another receiver.
This is not a bad move.
Like you said, it doesn't matter what you do.
Almost anything here is an
anything's
upgrade to what
gonna
you
help
already
them.
have. Well, and if you remember last year in the draft, they took Xavier Legette from South Carolina
Yeah.
in the first round.
Mr. I eat possums.
Huh? Yeah, exactly.
You heard that?
Yeah. He may end up being
Or is it coon? It's one of those. It's either a coon or possum. I don't remember.
he may end up being a decent receiver, but now you got Tetaroa to throw in the mix as well. So this is a very good pick. And yeah, I mean, you knew Tetaroa was probably going to go pretty high. There's a lot of talk about Matthew Golden maybe being the number one receiver. And Jolson says, "Are you kidding me? You don't think Tetaroa was a good move there, Jolson?" A lot of people after the combine were saying, "Oh, Matthew Golden's going to be the number one receiver taken." Jolson says, "Absolutely not." Vehemently in disagreement with the Tetaroa McMillan pick. Do you think Tetaroa is not that good a receiver, or do you just think the Panthers have bigger needs that they should have addressed, or maybe both? I think he's a pretty impressive receiver. I mean, we'll see. He's got the size for a prototypical NFL receiver for sure. That doesn't mean everything, but Jolson says, Jolson just wanted Tetaroa to go to the Broncos.
Oh, well,
So it almost made you want to say, hog vomit on Groton.
as a Chiefs fan, I got to say, oh, dog.
You're okay with him going to the
I'm
Panthers?
okay with him going to the Panthers.
I think he's a pretty good receiver. Now, I'm going to say this. The Saints are on the clock. I hadn't said this yet. I wouldn't be that shocked. Okay, Luther Burden is in the near future, Jolson believes, and you may be right. I wouldn't be shocked if the Saints take Shedeur Sanders here because of Derek Carr's
because of
age
Carr's,
and the
his age
injuries.
and injury, and the fact that they won't really disclose what the injury
Right.
is. It's just a show. That's all they're saying.
I'm not saying I
They
think
won't
they
really go
will
into-
take him, but it wouldn't shock me. Although I'm going to throw this out here. I think Tyler Warren's a good pick for the Saints for a couple of reasons. Number one, he's a heck of a tight end.
Yeah.
Number two, I said this on a previous episode. He's basically a bigger, younger version of Taysom Hill with his versatility. Why not pair them together for a year, let him learn a thing or two, and then fell level from Taysom Hill? And now you've got a younger guy that can keep doing the same things Taysom has been doing. If I'm the Saints, I might have a hard time not taking Tyler here.
All right, so
Cordero McMillan is the first Arizona wide receiver ever selected in the first round of the NFL draft. So an interesting move.
First University of Arizona wide receiver ever taken in the first round. Not a big shot because they're not really a football
I
powerhouse.
also don't
So
consider them a powerhouse.
I don't know who else that would have been. So
Do you fortify the defense to keep the points down? Do you try to evaluate the young quarterback by getting him some weapons? I like the move. Right?
yeah, I think this is a good move. I think though, if they had gone with a pass rusher or a corner, that wouldn't have been a bad move either. That they've got so many holes.
You've
I
already,
think
you've already stated that and beat that horse to death.
Right.
The fact that it's,
they could have taken almost anybody.
They need so much help. It didn't matter who they took.
All right, New Orleans pick is in. When you have that many holes, it's really hard to mess up your first round pick.
Unless
honestly.
you're Jerry Jones, and you can screw it up no matter what.
Any opportunity to talk about
Somehow I
Jerry.
drafted my third long snapper.
They said he had potential.
Yeah, he can play multiple positions.
Yeah, he can play long snapper and sometimes center.
Yeah.
Multiple positions. It's basically Travis Hunter.
Either way it goes, he's snapping a ball through his legs.
Jolson says maybe a corner for the Saints. That wouldn't be a bad move,
It's not a bad
especially
idea.
if you go with Will Johnson. I mean,
they lost Willie Gay.
Marshawn Lattimore.
They've got my mind is just absolutely losing my mind here.
How are you losing your mind if you don't know where it is?
Well, that's why I lost it. The Saints actually have kind of been picking up Chiefs defensive players the last few years.
Okay.
They just signed Justin Reed. They they still have the Honey Badger. That's what I was trying to think of. I do believe the Honey Badger's still there. So you have two safeties, though. So it like your cousin said, that's not a bad pick. You're short
No.
of that defense.
Yeah.
So
You need help in a number of places here too. So
So
All
say
right.
Willie Gay
Says the
left.
pick is in.
He was a linebacker in Kansas City for a while.
I remember a few years back when the Saints traded up in the first
the
round.
pick is in. They just don't want to tell us who it is yet.
Don't go to commercial break. Let's get through the top 10. Come on.
There's Roger Goodell.
With the ninth pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle.
Okay. That's our
Well,
third offensive lineman in the top 10 picks, which again, if you can get a great offensive tackle in the first round, that's not a bad move. You'll almost never hear me say taking an offensive tackle in the first round's a bad move. Unless they're just not a first round talent. But I mean,
right.
you need offensive line. This is not. I said I wouldn't have been surprised if they took Shedeur. I'm kind of throwing that. I wouldn't have been shocked, but I think Tyler Warren would have been a good move. I think corner would have been a good move. I think this is a good move.
Well, and if and when Carr comes back, you got to keep him upright.
Yeah, however much longer you have him, you want to protect him. And they can take Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe in the second round
You know,
because
okay.
they won't need to start him right away anyhow.
I everything I've heard, Jackson Dart has gone up the board.
Yeah.
People really like him. I actually was thinking in my head as you were like, oh, Shedeur, and this and this, and I was just thinking to myself, what about Dart? What about Dart?
To the Saints,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be a bad move in the second round because
But honestly, I just didn't think I I wouldn't have thought that he would go this high. I mean, that would
have been a little surprising.
yeah, just like what we saw JJ McCarthy going. What was he?
Number
11 to
10.
12
He was 10
Was he
to the
10?
Vikings.
to the Vikings.
He went
last
ahead
year.
of
We were
Nick
just like,
Saban. Yeah.
we were like, what the heck are they doing? Taking JJ McCarthy at that point. They could have waited on him. So I would think he was a second or third round pick.
Yeah, Jolson agrees. This is not a bad pick at all.
You know, I think we've hit the pinnacle right now of this live show. Your cousin is agreeing with us. That's
So
awesome.
far.
That's awesome.
So far.
He'll disagree with us here shortly, I'm sure.
If he disagrees, he'll say he disagrees.
We'll just agree to disagree.
Yeah, his full first name is Jolson. My uncle Joel is his granddad.
Is Joel? Son?
Yeah, well, Joel is his grandson.
Yeah.
But my cousin Julie named her son Jolson after her dad's name Joel. Pretty cool. All right, the Chicago Bears pick is in. Who is this? The Dixie Chick Juniors?
I have no
I
idea.
don't know who these ladies are coming out here talking loud, acting like we're supposed to know who they are.
Okay.
Yeah, it's where we get to geek out over every single game and
I think they rehearsed this.
I'm gonna guess they're talking heads for some NFL show where they host. They look beautiful and all, and then they got the ex-players around to do all the talking. Is
Yeah,
what I'm gonna go with.
that may be the case.
So it's game revealed, release date. I'm gonna say Madden. Is that what we're talking about, Madden? I guess if we stop talking, we'll find out.
Maybe. I just want to know who Chicago drafted, honestly.
Everybody, get it together, mark your calendars, set your alarms. The schedule will be dropped
I don't know what the heck is scheduled.
on the phone.
Are they talking about the NFL regular season schedule? Is that what we're talking about? Maybe.
On May 14th. That's what it is. It has to be that.
Every game revealed. Okay, there we go. All right.
And they acted like it was something
So,
else.
yeah.
Like, what the crap is this?
I mean, that's cool, but at some point, I know the schedule's going to be released. So I wasn't,
Yeah,
really,
so
holding,
I'm
wasn't
like,
really holding my breath for that.
they're not going to release the schedule.
Yeah, I'm just not going to know when the games are ever.
Okay, that was a waste of time.
I guess they had some time to kill there. All right, so
Boy,
the Bears
a lot of people
pick is
did not
in.
like the Bears.
Well, they're in.
They
Green
are
Bay,
in Green Bay.
So that part's not a
Nice.
surprise.
Didn't know they had a bunch of Hispanics up there, with the mariachi band stuff. In Green Bay.
Me
Little cold for
neither.
them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have really
I
expected
would
that.
not exactly go to a Mexican restaurant there.
We've got two Mexican restaurants in my hometown. We've got two Mexican restaurants in my hometown of Kentucky, believe it or not.
Are they ever open?
Sometimes I've been to both of them at least once each.
It's not the same as it is here, is it?
Not exactly. All right, Chicago Bears. The pick is in. Aston Genty's not available. Who are we gonna see?
The NFL family lost a true legend. Bears Hall of Famer Steve McMichael. My heart is with the McMichaels.
Legendary
They
defensive
played
lineman,
during this incredible
part of that
season.
85 Super Bowl team.
Misty, please know,
Played on the line right beside William Refrigerator Perry.
Mongo's remarkable contributions to the game and the community will never be forgotten. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. 50 years ago, with the fourth pick in the 1975 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears selected one of Steve McMichael's teammates and closest friends, Walter Payton, running back, Jackson State.
Okay. 50 years ago,
Walter McMichael-
Walter Payton was drafted. 1975.
I'm so glad they're stretching this out.
Oh, yeah.
Over 13 seasons. All
Okay, it's been 50 years. Let's move along.
They're trying to make us feel like this 50 years while we're watching it.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling.
on the field, but also his commitment
At this point, I can feel my beard growing just watching
with
this.
the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year award. So with the 10th pick
Thank
in
the
the
Lord.
2025 NFL Draft,
Listen to the
What
Packers
is this?
fans.
the Chicago Bears select Colston Loveland.
All right.
Colston Loveland.
Okay.
Okay,
Tight
number
end.
one, I wasn't really expecting a tight end, and he goes over Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
That's a little, to me, this is the first really big surprise. I was kind of surprised that the Jaguars trading up, but it was understandable that they wanted Travis Hunter. This is a bigger surprise to me. What do you think, Chris?
It's the Bears.
Wow. Okay. He goes ahead
Well,
of Tyler Warren.
Here's a good question. What is the highest drafted
Tight end in
tight end
history. I don't even know. Jolson
Maybe
says
Jolson knows it.
he says it's a bad pick.
I-
Yeah, Tyler Warren's better. I do concur. I think Colston Loveland's got a lot of potential on the next level, but if you're taking a tight end here, I don't know how you don't take.
I was just
Tyler
wondering.
Warren.
I was just wondering. He went 10.
Yeah.
Has there been a tight end higher than that named Kyle Pitts?
Kyle Pitts was number
Number 4.
3, or
Number
was
4.
he number 4? That's
Yeah,
right.
so at
I
least
forgot
that's-
about that.
That's what Gemini says.
He was. I
Fourth pick
forgot.
in the 21 draft.
I forgot that he went that high. Colston Loveland, I think, will have a pretty good career. I didn't expect Chicago to take a tight end. I mean, Cole Kmet is a pretty good tight end.
He's serviceable.
Yeah, and so I didn't really expect this move. And man, I would have gone Tyler Warren here. If I were taking a tight end,
But yeah, if you're going for a
it
tight
would have
end,
been Tyler Warren because he can do so much more. Nothing against Colston Loveland. He may have a great career. I don't know. I still want to see what Harold Fanning Jr. does on this level. Tight end out of Bowling Green.
because Bowling Green is a tight end.
Factory.
Yes.
He had a dominant season last year. I don't know. He's not going to be drafted tonight, I don't imagine. I don't know when Fanning will be drafted, but I'm very interested to see him on the next
Pretty
level.
impressive. The 2 elk on the wall back here.
That was the coolest part about that picture, right? All right. San Francisco, I believe, is now on the clock at number 11. It says the pick is in.
Well, we're going to go to a commercial break.
But we're going to
real
go to – well, they may as well. All the time they wasted before they chose Chicago's pick. All right, so San Francisco. They traded Deebo Samuel
Yep.
to the Commanders.
quick. Yep.
We don't know about Ayuk. He was
Right.
unhappy. He's coming off the injuries. They did draft Ricky Pearsall last year. They've got Jawan Jennings. They got a couple of pretty good receivers.
Yeah.
They got Georgi Kittle, very good tight end. What do you think here?
Well, you're not going running back.
Probably not this early, although they were down to their 4th stringer last year with Isaac Garendo, and he was pretty good. So they do like to stay loaded at running back, but I think they'll wait. I don't think they'll do it this early.
I mean, go figure. There's a running back
And
right there.
speaking of, here's Christian McCaffrey on this commercial.
Uh,
I think probably either
they need
a
probably
corner, a safety, or maybe a defensive end. They've got,
I was going to say an offensive lineman.
well, that wouldn't be that shocking either. They've
Just
got
because they need to keep what's his name upright.
Brock Purdy.
Yep.
Nick Bosa might be their best actual football player, their defensive end.
Yeah.
So he's darn good. It wouldn't surprise me if they went defense here, but offensive tackle, as we've been saying, usually a good move in the first round.
Yep.
And we've seen at least 3 offensive tackles go already.
We've seen 3.
So
Because the higher my sleep IQ score, the better I play.
it wouldn't be that shocking. Here's Matthew Stafford on a Sleep Number commercial, preparing for life after the NFL.
Yeah, because I also like
Pardon us while we eat.
That's right. It's a long broadcast. We're committed to the full haul, so we're gonna have some Pringles and some. What do you got?
Beans
Some
and
other
chips,
chips,
chips
beans
and
and
beans.
chips. Both of us worked full days today. Couldn't wait to get here and get started.
Couldn't wait to see all of y'all's bright, shiny faces, which we're not seeing anyways. You're just chatting with us.
No, y'all just seeing ours, and my apologies for that.
That's for sure. But we definitely appreciate you guys tuning in.
Oh, indubitably.
You guys are awesome.
Imagine if there's an ESPN Sportsbook app that linked to the
I started to say this is my first actual live stream, but technically it's not. I did a live stream Saturday
You did one the other
to
day.
announce it, or on Monday to announce this live stream.
Yeah,
so
so we've done two.
actually our second live stream.
Yeah.
Yes.
one of my best ideas.
Some really bad things that we get to talk about. Just really dumb.
Just I can do that all day, as I'm sure you're quite aware.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
All right, San Francisco's pick is in.
I'm just saying-
Welcome to anybody that's joining us or rejoining us. We got Shador Sanders on the screen here.
Where's Dad?
If you're just joining us in the chat, tell us your favorite team and who you hope they take in the first round. Or if they've already picked in the first round, what do you think about their first round pick?
If you will, up until the Steelers pick at number 21. Not any obvious expectation.
This is a good point. Not another quarterback they're not another team that would probably take a quarterback until pick 21, Pittsburgh. It would not be that shocking to me if we don't see another quarterback taken tonight.
I'm
I'm not guaranteeing it, but what do you think?
I was going to say, I don't think you do. I don't think you see another quarterback go.
I wouldn't be that shocked. I would not be
I
that
think
shocked.
Shador, Dart, they go round 2 or 3.
You very well may be correct.
Oh, great.
United States service members stationed at Yokota Air Base in Japan.
In Japan,
Hello from United States Forces Japan. I'm Sergeant Mitchell Johnson. I'm here
hello
with
Mitchell might be my cousin Johnson.
Marine Corps and Navy. We're proud to announce that this year we're celebrating our 250th anniversary. We're grateful for the
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
And the USO.
Indubitably.
San Francisco, 49ers.
Hey Jolson, who's San Francisco going to take here?
Back to you in Green Bay.
Oh, I thought he was about to announce it. I was like, that would have been cool.
That would have been actually really cool.
Totally blew that opportunity. But get
It's Porky Pig joining us. That's all, folks.
what happens when you've got food in your mouth. But Goodell has to be the one that announces it, which is ridiculous.
Men and women who serve in the United States military for your sacrifices to defend our country's freedom.
Like a,
With the 11th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Michael Williams.
okay.
Defensive end out of Georgia. I feel a little bit hornswoggled. That's one of the guys I wanted Washington to take if he was available,
I'm going to back it up.
but
a
I
second.
didn't think he would
I
be
want to back it up
available.
a second.
The San Francisco 49ers
Come on, get off the screen.
Michael Williams.
All right, so the best Mel's best available
Oh, I saw that.
was Shador at number 1,
And then
2
Tyler
Tyler
Warren.
Warren, and then Jalen Walker.
Jalon Walker, yeah.
Jalon, not Jalen. Jalon Walker. I just saw that. I was like, who did Mel have at number 1? I wasn't paying
He had
attention.
Shador, and I don't know. All right, let's get caught back up so we're
Oh,
not late
boy.
announcing the next pick. Or did you already get it caught back up?
No.
That's Michael Williams.
That's what you use. That's what you do. That's what you use the commercial break for. Catch up
Well,
on
who
commercial
knows?
breaks.
But they may make another pick before the commercial. They probably will. Now, Michael Williams, I think this is a very good pick. I just mentioned a while ago, Nick Bosa is probably San Francisco's best overall player. Now you got another very good defensive end to put on the other end of the line. So, not a bad move. Jolson says, had a feeling they would get a defensive end. He said an edge. I don't say this a whole lot, and I don't like to make a big deal out of it, but why do we have to stop saying – why do we have to stop calling defensive ends defensive ends? I know everybody says edge now, but A defensive end's always been a defensive end. So I still say defensive end.
No idea.
But yes, pass rusher.
I support your right to call him.
You know,
a
I call him
defensive
defensive end. Edge is a side of a ruler, in my opinion. This table has an edge. But I get it. That's what people say.
end. You have an edge.
There is that.
Pretty frightening, but anyways.
Dallas Cowboys pick is in.
All right.
Okay, Cowboys fans.
So you think they picked up Shedeur?
That would be, be a terrible pick, but
So they can fire Schottenheimer at the end of the year,
Right.
And get Dion to coach them.
oh, goodness. Well, that'd be quite a move. Jolson Jolson says it's a bad pick incoming, just based on the fact that it's Dallas.
He's right.
See, even though he's a Broncos
Hey,
fan,
Jolson, can you come to Dallas and want to take my place? I think you're great. I'd like
even
to
though
see
he's a
that.
Broncos fan,
I don't care. It's all right. I'm good with
it's
it.
okay.
I'll let Bronco fans in the house. It's all right.
All
Not
right.
everybody's perfect, but it's okay.
The Dallas Cowboys select Tyler Booker, guard.
Tyler Booker, offensive guard from Alabama. As we've said multiple times, offensive lineman's not a bad move here.
Gotta keep Dak upright. I mean, we're gonna say it all day long. Probably gonna get tired of us saying it, but it's the truth.
You got to have a good offensive line. That's the fourth one taken so far in 12 picks. And with Ashton Genty off the board,
Well,
I think
actually, this is the first guard. The others
That's
were
right. This is the
were
first
offensive
guard.
tackle, so this is the first guard.
Marion Hampton would have been a great move here. But
Well, that's kind of what I wondered if they would have taken Hampton.
I
if
was-
everybody wanted him to take Genty,
yeah,
which we didn't think Genty would last that long, anyways.
but Hampton
You know.
would have been a great
And
pick.
I actually thought that Hampton. They just threw his name up a minute ago, and I was like, I bet it's Hampton.
I was kind of expecting that, but they can still get they can get a Caleb Johnson or a Quinshon Judkins in the second round. They could get Scatterbo in the third round. So this is not a bad move. Adding some strength on that offensive line. Because when Dallas was winning the Super Bowls in the 90s,
They had
with
an
all the
offensive
weapons
line.
they had, what was they really predicated on? Their offensive
Offensive
line. They had been the best offensive line in the
The
league.
thing was like a wall.
Yeah.
I think he's the best part that drafted and fit what the Cowboys have to do.
So not a bad move, I will say.
Tyler Booker, he's someone who's, you know, at 6'4" and 321.
Dang, that's a big human. That is a big human. I want to know how fast he runs.
Now, speaking of speed earlier, they're showing a highlight of Jalen Milrow
Yep.
at the combine, or maybe at his senior day.
I don't think he was at the combine.
I think it was
I think he
his,
had senior day.
he ran a 4.3. Yeah, Jolson says he believes that Cowboys will wait on running back since this is such a deep class. And obviously that is what it looks like they're doing.
Yep.
Consistent with his fundamentals, so they can get it all.
Yeah, Milrow ran a 4.3 at his senior day. So,
I mean, it's not a 4.21, but it's okay.
no, it's not a 4.21.
But not bad for a quarterback.
Street for any school in draft history. So our colleague Nick Saban, very proud, no doubt about that. And his
I want to, the reason I said I want to see this guy run, I just want to know that if he could run, if he runs as fast as Larry Allen did,
Oh,
because nobody ran. I've never seen an offensive lineman run fast like Larry Allen did.
and for being so stinking big, too, Larry Allen was a big dude.
And to be one of the strongest guys in the NFL, if he wasn't the strongest,
That's
I think he benched, was it multiple times, 700 pounds once.
I don't
or maybe
remember if
several
it
times.
was-
It was 700 was the weight,
It was crazy, yeah.
and to be that big, that strong,
And that
and then
mobile, yeah.
you've seen the video where he runs down the defensive back that
Oh, yeah.
intercepted that everybody's seen. That's what he's known for.
No, yeah. I know what
He
you're talking
chases the
about.
guy down from behind and tackles him along the sideline.
All right, Miami's on the clock. Pick number 13. Jolson now says Will Johnson, lock it in. Cornerback from Michigan.
All right. Jolson, thank you so much for being our third on this. Towns is unfortunately not able to be
Not
here.
able to be here.
We like having Jolson coming in from
Lewisport, Kentucky.
Okay, Kentucky. All right, there we go. I figured it was Kentucky. I just didn't know specifically where.
Almost
Lewisport.
all my cousins live there, but yeah, the city is Lewisport.
Well, very good.
A booming metropolis of less than 2,000 people.
Too bad we couldn't figure out how to set
The
up
greatest place on earth. That Jolson knows.
Okay.
You know what?
All right.
I don't disagree with that because that's where my family is. So when I'm there, I feel like I'm in the greatest place on earth because I get to be surrounded by people that I love.
Hey,
So yes,
that's what it's.
I
that's all
do
that matters.
concur.
It's all that matters. I happen to think it's somewhere up in Montana, but that's okay.
Last year when I was up in Kentucky, I went over.
Maybe not during the winter.
Yeah, I was in Lewisport last year. We need to bring our guests to. Oh yeah, you need to go to Ritzy's with us. It's a restaurant. Actually, there's
Okay.
2 locations. My uncle, Jolson's granddad. Then yeah, you'll change your mind if you go to Ritzy's with. Every time I'm in town, we go to Ritzy's because my uncle Joel is part owner of 2 different Ritzy's locations. It's like a 50s style restaurant, burgers. They've got some of
Okay,
the
I was-
best ice cream ever.
I was really hoping you'd explain to me what Richie's was.
Yeah, it's called
What they're sa-
Ritzy's.
Ritzy's, I'm
RITZY''S.
My bad, Ritzy's.
But yeah, every time I'm in
Okay.
town, I organize a family outing. We all go
Okay.
and hang out at Ritzy's. Actually, and when I was in Lewisport last summer, I think it was, I went over to Jolson and his mom's house, which is my cousin Julie. I hung out with them from like 7 p.m. to 2 in the morning. Just the 3 of us. Actually, Jolson fell asleep, I think, around midnight. Julie and I stayed hung out talking. So, yeah, best place on earth when I'm there. I love it. I feel like I'm in the best place on earth. All right, so the Dolphins pick is in. We're going to sit through these advertisements to find out what it is. Jolson says it's Will Johnson. Honestly, probably best corner in the draft. I guess you could debate with Travis Hunter. So yeah, we'll see. Other than Travis Hunter, we have not seen a defensive back go. No linebackers, no defensive backs yet.
All right, hold on. Has Abdul Carter been the only defensive player gone?
No, because Michael Williams went to
Oh,
San
that's right.
Francisco.
That's right.
Mason Graham went to the Browns.
I was trying to figure out who else had gone defensive wise.
So we've seen,
trying to remember, anyways.
yeah,
At my advancing age, my short-term memory is not good.
you feel like you have long-term loss of short-term memory.
What are we talking about?
Where's that Cocker Spaniel?
I had a Cocker Spaniel.
No, but we talked about a Basset Hound named Barabbas once.
Oh,
Actually, when Christian Kramer was here.
I don't remember having a Dalmatian.
Me neither. Jolson says he feels like it's locked in Will Johnson because of the loss of Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
That is an understandable reason. Man, Miami really,
I like the fact that he has a good answer.
yeah,
Right, not just a player, but he has a reason.
he has a reason. Think about 2
I don't have a
seasons
reason.
ago. Miami had one of the most explosive offenses, if not the most explosive offense in the league. They weren't even a playoff team last
2
year.
years ago?
Yeah, 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, who did they get beat by?
Yeah, I think we all remember what happened there in the playoffs.
Oh, we beat them twice. Beat them in
The
Frankfurt,
important one was in
Frankfurt, and then in the
Kansas City in the
negative
playoffs.
19-degree weather in Kansas City.
But last year, my goodness, they really took a step back.
Well, it didn't help.
Tyreek had some injuries. Tagliabue Ravioli had
Yeah.
concussions.
He was a
Mostert
walking
was
concussion is
injured.
what he
They
was.
they really fell off. All right, the pick is in. Dolphins, what do you gotta do? Can you hear me in the back? Hello.
Well, let's see if Jolson's correct.
We will find out soon, unless Roger Goodall makes another public service announcement about walking shoes or Dr. Scholl's insoles or
That would actually be
adoption.
impressive. That would
Yeah.
be impressive.
The Miami Dolphins select Kenneth Grant.
Kenneth Grant, the other defensive tackle
Okay.
from Michigan.
She's excited. She has no idea who Kenneth
No.
Grant is, but she's excited.
She's just happy to be here.
She's just
'cause
happy to be there.
somebody told her there was something exciting happening in Green Bay tonight, and she's out of the house. I mean, this is not a bad move either. He's another big, powerful guy.
Hey, what do they say? What's defense? What wins championships?
Defense wins championships.
Is it just me, or is good grief? He is so tiny.
Mike McDaniel is a Weasley little creature. Yes, he
He's
is.
he looks like he should like he's
Like he's a middle school English teacher or a middle school student.
I was going to say he's closer to a middle school student, but he looks like more like a shoot.
Yep, Jolson concurs. Great move. I mean, 6'3" and 5'8", over 320 pounds. Think about this. I didn't watch a whole lot of Michigan last year, but my goodness, they had two behemoths at their defensive tackles last year. Goodness.
How'd they not win?
Honestly, that says a lot about the rest of their team.
Yeah.
When you got Mason Graham
Well,
and
they
Kenneth Grant.
They probably had a bunch go to the NFL the year before when they did win the title.
Jolson's going to join back with us after the Broncos draft. Gonna take a little time off. You got something better to do? You going to go play some Mario Kart or something? Thanks for stopping by, Jolson. We'll be waiting for you when you come back. I'm gonna eat some more
be here
Pringles.
waiting with bated breath.
Indudablemente. He's a big old boy, Kenneth Grant.
Now,
All right.
I am very disappointed that Mr. Simmons did not join.
You know, he's more of an NBA fan. So if we were covering, he's more of an NBA fan. So if we were covering the NBA draft, he probably would be.
But don't complain.
I still think there's not much excuse that he should have been here.
Exactly.
All right, the Colts pick is in.
I mean, he knows Megatron. My gosh, he should be at every NFL game.
I mean, why wouldn't you love the NFL? The Colts, I've
he
heard
reminds
of
me of a quarterback.
Daniel Simmons.
Yeah, or a safety.
I could see that.
A
A lot of mock drafts I've seen have Tyler Warren going to the Colts, so we'll see.
Let's see if you're right.
I'm not sure if that's the greatest move, although that might be what Anthony Richardson needs is a nice big target over the middle so he didn't have to throw into coverage so much.
Outside of that, somebody to mentor him.
Well, he does need that.
There you
Tyler
go.
Warren. Okay. You know, with Tyler Warren, I think you just got to bet on the talent. Again, I don't know if this is a greatest fit. Then again, it might be.
Well, you can tell Grandpa's about to fall asleep over there.
Hey, what? Tyler's here? Who's on the couch? Diarrhea. Yeah, Tyler Warren, very versatile player. First of all, he's a week one starter, 6'5.5", 256. Big, strong blocker. He won't have to come out of the game
And he's
on
a
run
good
plays.
receiver.
Well over 1,000 yards receiving last year. They lined him up in the backfield. Like I said, he's a big, younger, bigger Taysom Hill. That was a nice one-handed
That's a nice
grab.
catch.
He's a well.
And the fact that he can
rounded
block
all-
is
yeah.
a big deal too, because
Oh, yeah.
that's huge.
That's what I mean. He's an inline tight end. Runs and draws. I mean, he's against Ohio State.
He's got some running ability there. He's
He's a very good athlete. And honestly, this might be a good move.
He's not, I was going to say he's not on the level where Brock Bowers. That's just
Very
a
different
that's
type of player.
Just a different level. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But my gosh,
Well, what I was going to
Nice
say,
pickup.
too, this could help Anthony Richardson even because they might be able to do some trick plays, have him throw the ball, or have
Yep.
Anthony Richardson even go in motion, go out wide, have him run some run pass option. There's a lot of things you can do with
look,
Tyler
when your
Warren,
tight
so.
end can throw better than your quarterback,
Anthony Richardson might be in trouble.
yeah, maybe that's Taysom Hill for sure.
is so versatile. You're right. I mean, he fell right to him.
Yeah, he can do a lot of things. He's a darn good athlete. I'm still a little surprised he was the second tight end taken, but
Yeah.
that brings about another point. A lot of people make such big deals out of draft capital. Now, he's still a first-round draft, so this is not quite a great comparison. But you hear a lot of talk about the importance of draft capital. Tell me if you agree or disagree, Chris, and anybody in the comments as well. I don't care that much about draft capital. I get it because it shows how much the team believed in the person. But once a guy's in the league, I care about how they can produce. I don't care where they were drafted. And once they're in the league, they're in the league. There's been too many guys that got drafted late. Brock Purdy was the final pick of the draft the year he went. Kurt Warner was an undrafted free agent. I know that's the rarity, but still, once a guy's in the league, that's what I care about. What can he do? I don't care. Draft capital, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I don't value it as much as a lot of people do.
I think where you're drafted, the only thing that really matters is to that for me. And what I'm looking at that when you say that, the only thing that matters is how much you're paying them.
Yeah.
Because then you're going,
what kind of team you're going to?
We spent this on you, and you just didn't make it.
Right.
So just like Jerry,
right,
spent a 4th round draft pick, sent that 4th round draft pick to Jacksonville or Carolina. Carolina. They got crud. Shoot. I just had it.
Miles Sanders.
No. Mingo.
Oh, Jonathan Mingo.
Jonathan Mingo. They spent a 4th round draft pick on that.
Yeah.
You're better off spending a 7th round draft pick or a 6th round.
Truthfully, he wasn't worth much more than that. Yeah.
You take a look where they drafted him, and they would go, not them, but
where the
Carolina,
Panthers,
where the Panthers drafted him. Did you pay him a lot of money and just didn't get out of it? That's all the time that I think that where you're drafted really matters.
That's
how much you're paying the guy.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's like you said, you just get out on the field and produce.
I mean, Austin Eckler was another one, undrafted free agent.
Yeah.
There's been plenty. So, yeah, for the most part, I couldn't care less. But things like what you said, terms of contract, and sometimes what you can get out of, yeah, there's cases where it makes a difference. All right, the Falcons are on the clock now. Last year, they shocked us all by taking Michael Penix Jr. Turned out to maybe not be a bad move because now it looks like he's going to be their starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Still don't know what's going to happen. Is somebody going to trade for Kirk Cousins? Pittsburgh, Cleveland? I think that'd be a good move for either one of y'all. Honestly, with Atlanta, they got some good young weapons on offense. Penix, Bijan Robinson. You may not still want to admit it, but Drake London did have a pretty good season last year. I wouldn't be surprised if they go defense here. Yeah, the receiver, Drake London.
No, I don't know him.
One of your new favorites?
I don't know him.
Not personally.
No. Would I draft him?
In fantasy, he's on one of my dynasty teams.
I didn't draft him.
No, you did not.
I did not draft him.
No, he helped me win one of my leagues last year, though.
Yeah, well, I didn't draft him. Could be why I lost in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know.
Oh, he had a pretty good year last year, which I thought would be the case once he had a decent quarterback. With the Falcons here, I wouldn't be shocked to see either a safety, corner, or a defensive end. We'll see what happens here. But
I was going to say, you're not going to see a running back.
No, I don't know why they would do that.
No,
You got Bijan, and they get a pretty darn good backup in Tyler Algier, honestly.
Yeah.
He's still a good running back. So Hampton would be pretty stupid here.
You're not going to go Sadur. You're not going to go – well, you might go –
Jalon Walker, Will Johnson. Josh Simmons wouldn't be a bad move either.
Either one of those.
I wouldn't be surprised with any of those three.
A little known thing is I'm hoping Josh Simmons falls all the way to Kansas City, and we take him.
He might, because there's already been a few offensive linemen. We'll see. That would be a very good pick for them, honestly.
They desperately need to make sure.
Be a very good.
available here at the 15th selection.
Jalon Walker's another guy I kind of want the Commanders to take, but I'm not going to be too mad if they take him here because I don't really expect him to be available at pick 29, so I can live with it.
Yeah.
But he is a guy I'd like to see him take.
Jimmy Clausen. Boy, that's a name. Brady Quinn. Pride of the pride.
One of the many
Notre
Cleveland quarterbacks that just didn't have a great man. Cleveland, they got a bad history of drafting quarterbacks that don't go very far.
Well, that's like their 90s through the 90s. I think it started with Tim Couch.
It did start with Tim Couch.
And
I
all
was
just
say
the slides.
Bernie
started there.
Kosar was actually really good, but you got to go back that far to name one that actually had a really good run with them.
Yep.
Woo, yeah, Tim Couch. Of course, I remember a lot about him growing up in Kentucky. He played for the Wildcats.
You remember Bernie was slow.
He was, but
Super
he was
slow.
super slow, but he
You
was
know,
a good
I
quarterback.
heard a joke one time. And this is probably about a 30-year-old joke, so just bear with me for those that are under 30 or 15. That they were talking about the guy calling the plays. So
Mhm.
Kosar drops back. He's looking, he's searching, he's looking left, looking right. He's running up the middle. He's at the 10. He's at the 5. And he's down at the 3.
8 seconds later, he's down at the 3.
You could literally time the guy by a calendar.
Yeah.
Kosar was just so slow, but he played for Dallas.
Hey,
For
did
a
he?
short, yeah, he made a short stint. He had Vinny Greenballs.
I remember that. I remember Vinny. All right, the Falcons pick is in.
Let's see, when was he in Dallas?
I don't remember Kosar being in Dallas.
93.
Huh, okay. Somehow I did not remember.
He had one season. It was brief.
The Atlanta Falcons select Jalen Walker.
There you go.
There we go. Staying in state, Georgia Bulldog going to the Atlanta Falcons. That's a good move. He was a Jalen. I've heard it both ways. Whatever his name is, he's a pretty darn good
We're not
athlete.
going to insult him, so we're going to call him Mr. Jalon.
Yeah, Mr. Jalon Walker, very good pass rusher. Again, he's a guy I would love to have seen playing in Washington next year, but didn't really expect him to be available, so I'm not going to be too worried about it. All right, now Arizona's on the clock. Pick number 16. They're definitely set at tight end. They got one of the best in the league with Trey McBride.
Yeah, I think so.
I still have a lot of hope for Marvin Harrison Jr. Didn't show his best last year, I don't think. I think he's still got a lot of potential.
God, the blanks looks old.
Yeah.
I mean, he is old.
So with Arizona here, I don't know. I wouldn't be too shocked to see another pass rusher taken here or somebody in the secondary. We still haven't seen a corner or a safety taken. Yeah, I think Jalon Walker likely will be a very good NFL player. Seems like he's got really good instincts, very good athleticism. And we've said before on this channel, and this may be a little bit of an exaggeration, but if you're good enough to start for Georgia, you're pretty much NFL material.
You're playing semi-pro.
I mean, yeah. Some of these programs, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State,
You're playing semi-pro.
if you're good enough to be on starting for them,
Yeah.
probably good enough. All right, anybody in the chat, has your favorite team drafted yet? If so, what do you think about their pick? Tell us who your favorite team is if they haven't picked yet. Who do you want to see them take in the first round? Of whoever's left. If you wanted Ashton Genty or Cam Ward, too bad. If you wanted Jelon Walker, too bad.
You know who I wish would pipe in?
Your brother, Jeff Black.
Not really.
Hello, Jeff Black. But Chris doesn't want to hear from you tonight. Who are you talking
I
about?
don't think he's actually going to be listening. He's probably trying to put. I guarantee he's trying to figure out how to get the youngest one to bed.
Okay.
And stay in bed.
Well, maybe so.
But we're not airing dirty laundry here.
Well, maybe so.
But we're not airing dirty laundry here.
No, why
I would
would we do that?
I'd like to see Charlie chime
Charles Rogers,
in.
yeah.
Charlie Rogers.
Charles, if he's here, he has not spoken up yet
I want to know how he feels about the Cowboys.
about the Cowboys
Cowboys
pick.
pick.
He
Does he
I don't
feel
know.
like they're going to the Super Bowl?
he would probably say that, yeah. Charles, if you're there, let us know what you think. How do you feel about?
Charlie, your bag of crack is coming. Just so you know, Jerry put it in the mail this afternoon.
All right, the Arizona Cardinals pick is in. How was it gonna be? Did they take Shedeur? Why would they do that? They've got Kyler Murray. I'm kidding, of course.
Unless they don't believe in him anymore.
Well,
They think they're just going to have him play for the next couple of years and then trade him away. Take like Shedeur, take over.
there were some rumors in the offseason that Pittsburgh might do a trade for Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray.
I guess that technically still could happen. The season hadn't started yet.
I think you see a flurry of things happen after the draft. Everything kind of settles. You kind of make decisions of what you were able to get, what you were not able to get, and you start making necessary trades after that.
Some of the guys we talked about, I'm sure Nick Chubb and J.K. Dobbins will be on someone's roster when the season starts. I just don't know where. But some of these teams, they didn't get quite what they wanted in the draft with their running backs. I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you sign Nick Chubb to a 1-year deal, Dobbins to a 1 to 3 year deal? Matthew Golden ran a 4.29, got everybody all excited. I still think Tetairoa McMillan's a better receiver. I think was a good move that he went first of the receivers. Tetairoa. You ever hear a name like Tetairoa?
I thought that was a shot.
It probably is.
Do that or some type of.
Have you had your Tetairoa this year? It probably is.
Do that or some type of.
Have you had your Tetairoa this year?
Some type of kidney medication.
I mean, I guess the Cardinals did improve. They had the number 4 overall pick last year. They have the number 16 pick this year. They must have done something a little bit better. All right, are we going to get an announcement this time? Go down. Walter Nolan, defensive tackle for Ole Miss.
All right, so they went defense.
3 defensive tackles have gone now.
Yep. All in the last, six picks?
I
think so.
Mason Graham went.
Oh, he went earlier on.
5th to the Browns,
Yeah.
but those
He was
last
the first
2,
one.
yeah. I mean, this is not a huge surprise. He's a pretty darn good, pretty productive defensive tackle.
So here's a question I got. Maybe you know this answer, but I'm going to guess you don't.
Let's see.
How does the player that's sitting at home amongst everybody have the hat they got drafted by for the team they got drafted by? Do they send a whole bunch of hats to every team?
I think they do.
That's not the only thing you'd have to. It's
Yeah.
either that or hey, the fix is in.
Right.
The NFL is rigged.
Right. It has to be one of those two. I think you get a plethora of
It must be. It
hats
has
and
to be.
then, yeah.
I just thought about that. I mean, I think I probably thought about that before and just never voiced it.
Right, like-
until I saw it though on the Cardinal
It's
hat.
not
I'm
something
like,
that comes in to
how
play
did you
every
get
day.
that Cardinal hat?
Especially if you're not at the draft.
It's
Like
not
if you're
like
walking
they-
to the podium, they hand you a hat. I get
Exactly. It's not like they beamed it Star Trek
Right.
vibes to your house.
Particle beam.
Yeah, exactly. Here we'll just materialize it, dematerialize, and materialize it over here.
Now, a little bit off we'll get to who we think the Bengals might pick. But since you mentioned Star Trek, and I know you're a Star Trek fan, I'm really not, but that's, I'm okay when people are. Do you have a
say that, it's
favorite?
like there's a problem.
Do you have a favorite captain? James T. Kirk, Picard, somebody else? Do you have a favorite?
Oh man, I like Kurt because he's brash,
Okay.
but to do the right thing.
Did he set the bar so high it's hard for anybody to live
No.
up to him?
And I'm looking at this different ways.
Okay.
The brashness of a captain, Starfleet captain,
Mhm.
that's Kirk.
Okay.
Okay. The person that is, and I just said it, and I can't forget what the word I was going to use, but
Integrity, making the right decisions.
yeah, that's what I said. Making the right decisions.
Yeah.
That's Picard.
Okay.
Now, if you were to ask me who my favorite is right now, absolutely my favorite actor that plays a character, and I'm going to have to say it's Captain Pike, that is played by I can't remember his name.
As I say,
So,
I don't know this world. I'll go by what you say. I do not know who Captain Pike is.
Yeah, he actually was prior to Kirk. He was
Prior to Kirk?
Yeah, he was the captain of the Enterprise before Kirk.
So Captain Kirk wasn't the original captain?
No.
I'm a little surprised here. I don't know much about Star Trek, but I did used to watch the original series when I was a child. It was in reruns, and I don't remember someone being a captain before James T. Kirk. James
Yeah,
Tiberius Kirk.
Actually, the Anson Mount. Sorry, that was I knew it started with an A. Anson Mount is the actor playing him in Star Trek: A Strange New World.
Okay.
Strange New Worlds, which is on.
Oh, is
Paramount.
that a prequel though?
It is a prequel.
Okay,
Yes,
so
it
no
is.
one played a captain before William Shatner, but Anson Mount plays.
Believe it or
it's a
not,
prequel.
he did. There was the pilot episode
Uh-huh.
was not with Kirk. The pilot
Oh,
episode
okay.
was with Captain
I didn't know that either.
Pike. The old the pilot, they had such a bad reception of the
They
shoot.
changed everything.
They
up.
got rid of everybody except for
Wow.
Leonard Nimoy, who was
Oh,
playing Spock
yeah.
on that. He's
So
the
now
only-
they're reviving Captain Pike with Anson Mount.
right.
Anson
Now,
Mount
he
is a very
actually,
good actor.
in the original, I should say the original, but the remakes with Chris Pine,
Chris Pine.
the captain of the Enterprise that gets him in it, that's Pike. That was,
Okay, I have not
Bruce
seen
Greenwood.
those.
They're actually
He's
pretty
also
good.
a very good actor.
He
I've heard
played
they're very
Pike,
good.
but I really like Christopher Mount. But we probably gave way more information than we needed to.
Than anybody
We are in a
listening.
commercial break right now, so
And that's all right. We never know what we're going to talk about.
but
Like Cincinnati's pick is in.
Yeah.
I would not be entirely stunned if they went with Omari and Hampton. I'm not saying I think that's the most logical because they do have Chase Brown, but imagine pairing those guys together with a healthy Burrow and healthy Jamar R. Pursue diligently and T. Higgins. Your offense just got that much more dangerous. Then again, Trey Henderson has been wanting to
He's-
trade.
Henderson's
They might take a defensive end and then trade
Henderson's a
him.
little older,
Yeah, he's around
a little
30,
long in the tooth, outside his prime.
and he's been wanting a new contract
And
or
he wants a new
trade.
contract. And honestly, Cincinnati would be stupid to give him a new contract. I would say
Depending on
it's
what he's
best
asking for, but yeah.
for what he's wanting. They've already spent a ton of money on
Jamar
Higgins
R, yeah,
Jamar,
and Higgins.
and Joe.
Burrow, which you had to, you'd be real stupid not to do that. So I honestly, and now that I think about all that, I think they'll take a defensive end here. And then if that's the case,
I think they were
Washington get on the phone, maybe make a trade.
I think they look to basically draft
A replacement for Hendrickson.
Yeah, Henderson's replacement. And then
I think so too.
I don't think Henderson is a bad player, not at all.
Oh, no,
I
he
just
led
think
the
he's a
league in
little-
sacks
I just
last
think he's
year.
a little long in the tooth. And
He's just not 22 years old.
he's not right, exactly. You're going to pay him whatever. I mean, a large contract. That's what he wants. I just don't see that many
And
teams
is he
are going to do
is he
that.
going to be asking for more money than Max Crosby just signed for and Miles Garrett just signed for?
Well, you'd be stupid because
I don't
Max
think
Crosby's
he'll do
a stud,
Oh, he is a
dude.
He and
like
Myles
Max. I
Garrett.
wish he'd come to Kansas City.
Oh, man.
He won't. He won't because he doesn't like
Raiders,
Kansas
yeah.
City. But
Max Crosby and Myles Garrett are both absolutely
Crosby's from here.
dominant. He's from the Dallas
He's from-
area?
Yeah, he's from Arlington.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude's crazy. I like him. I like him.
He's a heck of a football player.
He is.
He's one of the best players in the league, not
Yes, he
just
is.
defense.
Absolutely. All right, here we go.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Jamar Stewart.
Samar Stewart, defensive end from Texas A&M. Okay, that lines up with exactly what you're saying.
Goes with what we. Wow, there's another walking dollar bill.
You know what?
That's actually a walking $100 bill.
Washington,
That's
get on
Missouri.
the phone and see if Cincinnati will trade Henderson without you giving up your whole franchise. We are ready for a Super Bowl run this year. Trey Henderson could be a big piece of that. Get on the phone, Adam Peters. You're probably already doing it because you're one of the best general managers in the league.
Yeah, I was just looking up to see who their general manager was.
Adam Peters.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, man. I've been so impressed with him. Yeah, I get on the phone, Adam
See if I can find
Peters.
his email address.
If you find it, let me know.
Well, that's what I was going to do. I was going to give it to you.
Yeah, he has done an awesome job with Washington thus far.
Now, it could be just lightning in a bottle and it fade out. But
Good. But that's
Man,
why they're
you-
Super
you-
Bowl ready right now. Let's get Trey Henderson if we can.
Oh, absolutely. Why would you not want to try that? You know what I mean?
In my
that's-
opinion, he's worth giving up their number 29 overall pick for. And if you can get him for maybe a second round and a future second and not have to give him a first, try that angle first.
I don't see
know.
I don't see why you couldn't get it for a second round pick because
Yeah, I mean, why not try that first?
I
It's a guy 30 years old.
don't think you're gonna. I think you'd be dumb to trade your 29th pick for
I don't
Henderson.
know though. Are they going to get a more impactful player there?
No. What I'm saying is, I ain't giving him a 29, but I'll give up my second round.
Oh, I would too. I mean, I wouldn't even be totally against giving up the first round pick because
I don't know.
I got to think of it this way: if they're that close to a Super Bowl this year, is there another player that they can take at number 29 that's going to be more impactful than Trey Henderson?
I don't know.
I don't know the answer, but he did lead the league in sacks last year. He may only have a few good years left, but that may be all. That may be worth it.
Now, Cincinnati would be stupid not to make the trade because if to get the 29th pick.
Oh yeah. Now
To-
if they
to-
got
to-
Samar Stewart,
to back, to get
I would offer the second round pick first if I'm
That's
Adam
what
Peters,
that's kind of what I was
and
getting
we'll
at,
see
is
where
that-
it goes.
That would be my first.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't just automatically offer.
And
first
my second
pick.
round pick, my second offer would be a second round pick, and then maybe a first round pick the following year. or
Yeah,
something
second
like that.
and a future first.
Yeah,
or
something like that. I would try to maintain your
Your
29
pick.
picks for this year. I would try to maintain.
If possible, yes.
Well, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow's jobs just got a little bit harder in the AFC North. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Greeny.
Did she realize he just got drafted by?
I know. I just wanted to understand
you
what
notice
what
that?
did that mean. What was she thinking?
Joe Burrow's job didn't get harder. Lamar Jackson and any other quarterback in the AFC North's job just got
Yes, I
harder.
don't know how their
That was
job got-
strange.
Well, she's just there to look pretty.
She accomplished that. I will say
I
that.
probably just, totally didn't do myself any justice there by saying that because our female subscribers are probably mad at me now. But
Let us know, ladies.
oh well,
Seattle Seahawks pick is in. I wouldn't be too stunned if they would go with Matthew Golden here because they did just trade DK Metcalf.
I agree.
They've got
That's a good point.
Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Hey, I like him.
But I do like him
I
a
like
lot.
him. I drafted him this year.
Did you?
I did.
I do like him a lot.
Let me tell you, I didn't play him for the first 4 or 5 games.
But once he got going,
Once he got going, it was like, man, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at here.
he's from Dallas, Texas as well.
And then Talmadge beat me.
Even with Njigba.
Uh-huh.
And then, but Jolson's the one that won our league. My cousin Jolson that we've been chatting with tonight, he's the one that won our league.
Congrats, Jolson.
Practice at center at the Senior Bowl.
Well, they're excited.
The pick is in. Seattle Seahawks.
You know what? Okay, I'll tell you what. I guarantee you the pick is not a long snapper.
I feel comfortable with that.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not a long snapper.
I feel comfortable with that.
It may be a gigantic limb.
But it's still
But
a
it's
limb.
still a
We're
limb
still
and
going to go on a limb.
It is not a long snapper. Jerry.
The pick is in. Seattle.
Golden. Nope.
Gray Zabel, offensive lineman from North Dakota State. Well,
And again, these ladies are just so excited to be there. They don't have a clue who they just announced.
North Dakota State. Well, we've been saying all night.
All right. So I really,
I
really like
that pick.
All right, back it up in a second. Then we'll catch back up. I like how they posed and how they set up Catan. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
That's all place. Nobody's playing that game.
That
Nobody's
was a
playing that
little
game.
advertisement there.
Yeah. It's kind of
Well-
like, you're eating Pringles. Let me see if I correction. You're eating Pringles, which could be a sponsor. Pringles.
If you're watching.
I have a little bit of dinner from Don Juan's, which could be
Don Juan's.
could be a sponsor. Don Juan's is the most romantic Mexican restaurant in Grand Prairie, where we are.
I'll take your word for that.
It's written on the wall.
Oh, that's self-proclaimed.
It's self-proclaimed.
Okay.
Our friend John Lovett does not like it.
It doesn't like the restaurant or the fact that they proclaim that or both.
John's a little weird. Could be both. John's an odd duck. I'm waiting for that text I'm about to get from him. And
I was going to
"What?"
say, are you watching John Lovett?
Probably not. Though I did tell him we were doing this tonight.
Well, then what's his excuse? I mean, come on.
Well, we should. He and I should be finishing up our accountability time.
Well, he should be accountable for being here right now.
Yeah, we should have. I should have said something, but I didn't. I just told him I couldn't meet because we're doing this tonight.
Maybe he thought, okay, well, then I'll just do something else.
All right. So now that we're
Tampa Bay.
we're on a commercial break. Tampa's on the clock. All right. You asked a very good question Saturday. What do you prefer? Fruit Loops or shredded wheat?
I did.
Now Jared O'Flaherty, not this Jared. Jared O'Flaherty, who he's the writer and producer for the TV show Vindication. If you haven't seen it, go out and see it. It's very good.
Very good stuff.
Actually, I've never seen it, but I've heard it's really good.
Chris, he's heard me talk about it so much, he's willing to say that.
I would love to see it. But anyways, what was your choice? He went with Fruit Loops. I don't blame him. I would go Fruit Loops too.
Oh, I'd go Fruit Loops all day.
I mean,
Yeah.
at the morning time, you've just woken up.
Why wouldn't you want that?
What do you need
Unless
to get today started?
unless Shredder Wheat wants to sponsor the channel, then they'll become my new favorite cereal. But as of now,
That's
Fruit
true.
Loops.
That's true.
As of now, it's Fruit Loops.
Yep.
It's like I told somebody the other day, I was drinking a Pibb Extra, and people sometimes get shocked. They think I'm being unfaithful to Dr. Pepper. And I tell them, I love both these drinks. They taste similar enough. I like them both. And if Dr. Pepper wants to hire me to be their national spokesman, you'll never catch me drinking another Pibb in public. But they haven't done that yet, so I'm going to drink Pibb as much as I feel like
I
drinking.
don't
it.
mind drinking a a Pibb.
Yeah,
like a
I
Pibb.
love both of them. Now, Tampa Bay is on the clock. I think they're pretty set at quarterback.
Yeah, they don't need a quarterback.
Baker's pretty darn good.
They seem to like their running back.
Bucky Irving was very impressive last year.
Yes.
I think they're pretty good there. They
They
did just
got-
re-sign Chris Godwin. They've still got Mike Evans. They got Jalen McMillan, another good young receiver.
Yep, so they don't need receivers.
I think they,
I didn't think go to the defensive side of the ball.
yeah, that we still haven't seen a corner or safety taken yet.
But there's something I saw online that safeties are not really ones that you go for in the first round. It's not the quality. The higher
This year
no,
class
no,
or just in
no,
general?
no, just in general. You don't normally go after safeties in the first round. You typically are the sexy picks, so to speak, or your defensive ends, your quarterbacks, that sort of thing, and they don't really go after the safety. I don't know why.
As I say, to me, it would depend on who's available.
It was a talking head, and I was just whatever. You know,
Right.
I'm not arguing. And,
There's definitely some safeties.
hey,
I would
look,
take
there's
in.
the freakazoid. Sorry, it was Aaron Rodgers. He's a wackadoodle. Wow, Ronnie Brown. I hadn't heard that name forever.
He was a player for a time.
With the 24th selection in the 2005 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Aaron Rodgers.
And now he's wasting everybody's time by playing around like he's not going to retire.
Yeah.
Okay, so they brought that up to talk about Shedeur.
Because Mel wants to prove that he is the number one guy left on the board.
Right. You've been saying that for half the first round.
Uh-huh.
All right, Tampa Bay's pick is in. I'm going to refill my Dr. Pepper while we're talking about this. And neither one of them have any reason for taking Shedeur Sanders.
Can't tell, is Dion praying or what?
Where is he?
Dead center in the middle
Oh,
of the screen.
I was going to say, is that the back of his head?
No, but I don't know who the guy standing next to him is with a big stupid looking hat.
They're probably all praying right now. They didn't think Shedeur would last this long on the board.
Well,
But again, once the young man's in the NFL, who really cares?
he's in the NFL.
Yeah, he's going to, if he produces, he produces. Although it's looking a little bit more and more like Pittsburgh. Might take him. I don't know. We will find out very soon. I really thought New Orleans might, honestly, but all right, Tampa Bay.
Quarterback.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Emeka Egbuka.
Oh,
That's a line. Oh, no, it's a receiver.
Dog vomit on Groton. He's one that I really wanted Washington to get if he's available. Wide receiver from Ohio State.
They are going to be receiver rich.
I was going to say, they're really preparing.
Wow.
Because, like I said, Jalen McMillan was very good last year. They're preparing for Mike Evans' retirement.
Yeah.
Man, Emeka, I like him a lot, if you can't tell.
No.
Yeah, he's one I wanted pretty bad.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Hang on. I think you blew my ear out when you yelled.
Very solid receiver. He's played, if I'm not mistaken, in his college career at Ohio State, he played with Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud, and Will Howard. He was teammates of Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jermaine Smith. He's been surrounded by a lot of talent, and he's Ohio State's all-time leader in receiving yards. Partially because some of those guys didn't stay all 4 years, but he's a darn good receiver. I don't know how much opportunity he'll get this year, though, with Godwin and Evans, but, I mean, this is a good move for their future, for sure.
I agree. All right, now, Jolson said he'd be back with us with Denver picks.
After Denver.
After Denver.
Denver's on the clock, Jolson.
Denver's on the clock.
He wanted Tyler Warren.
He's
Omarion Hampton. Lock it in.
Okay, all right.
Honestly, why wouldn't they take Omarion Hampton at this point? You signed to make Egbuka in the offseason. Tetairoa McMillan's off the board.
They're super excited.
Tyler Warren's off the board.
Oh, that's Tampa.
If I'm Denver, I think Omarion is my pick here, too.
I mean, actually, I thought Hampton would have gone to Dallas.
Well, yeah. As I say, the fact that he's still on the board,
yeah,
I really don't know why they wouldn't take him at this point.
Yeah. Well, it'd be a smart pick.
It'd be a very good pick. And kind of foolish if they didn't take him, honestly. Jackson Dart, not Shador, drops to round 2. That's what Jolson says. I don't know. So he says Shador's gonna get taken in round 1.
Okay. Well, you got 12 picks.
So he's saying Jackson Dart. Oh no, I'm sorry, I misread that. He says Jackson Dart will be next. So he thinks Pittsburgh's taking Jackson Dart, and Shador drops to round 2. I wouldn't be that stunned.
Okay.
I
Well,
would
like I
not
said,
be that stunned.
I said earlier that Dart seemed to be climbing up the ladder. People really liked him.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Mark Andrews, tight end,
I'm stepping
Baltimore.
away to go get some Dr. Pepper.
Hey, that's not a bad move ever.
I have it.
See, I don't ever have to ask if I have any. There's 2 things I make sure I never run out of: toilet paper and Dr. Pepper.
So wild that I actually, from a dream, started a business.
Oh, there you go. All right, Denver letting the clock run on this one. They're either
They must be talking to somebody.
maybe somebody's trying to trade up.
Kansas City?
If somebody wants
City?
Omarion bad enough,
Kansas City?
you wouldn't mind them trading up and taking Omarion?
They might need a running back.
Honestly, there's some questions about Pacheco and
There is.
recovering from the injury.
Yep.
Obviously, Kareem Hunt's getting older. Kind of the same thing I said with Washington. This draft class is so deep at running back. I want them to take somebody. Kansas City probably should too. Just because
But,
why not?
You know, they could almost go with anybody.
I think for the first round pick,
But-
they just go best available. But
Yeah,
at some
yeah.
point in the draft, I wouldn't blame the Chiefs for taking.
They got to be talking. They're all the way down to 135 now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Either that or they're just letting it roll and they've known all
Kinda
along. They're
seems a little
taking
silly
Hampton.
to let it roll that long.
I would have pulled the trigger on Omarion pretty
Yeah.
quickly at this point, but
Yeah. Kansas City's traded up a few times the last few years.
They
Up in this area right
did
around
they
here.
trade up to get Xavier Worthy last year?
Yes, they did. They trade.
Or no, they
all-
traded back. Didn't Buffalo trade up to take Keon Coleman
No, they traded. They traded up with Buffalo
and took Xavier
and
Worthy?
took Xavier Worthy.
Okay.
And everybody got pissed. All their fans got pissed about it because they traded again with the team that they can't seem to get past in the playoffs. And then they traded a couple of years before with Buffalo and got Trent McDuffie.
They got 2 darn good players out of those deals, so I don't
Okay.
know what's to be angry about. I mean,
Because they can't get past the Chiefs in the playoffs. That's why.
well,
They seem to beat us in the season, but they can't beat us in the
Yeah.
playoffs. And right now, that's kind of season, but they can't beat us in the
Yeah.
playoffs. And right now, that's kind of been the thorn in Buffalo's side.
Yeah.
So, which I get it. I mean, I can understand.
Kansas City's been a thorn in a lot of people's side these
Yeah,
past several
pretty
years.
much.
So
All right, let's see.
I'm sorry, Al
All
Kuiper.
right, the pick is in.
If you're saying your best overall players and you got Hampton third behind Shador, no.
I think he might.
I'm sorry. I like
Well,
Omarion.
it's Mel Kiper. He's kind of a bit of an idiot.
Ooh, Mel Kiper, we heard it here first.
You're an idiot. He thinks he's somebody. It's just crazy.
It's almost like he thinks he makes a living doing this or something. People pay him for his opinion
Like
on these things.
somebody's listening to this guy?
Yeah.
Are you?
Who?
Zach.
I pay attention to what he says, just out of curiosity, I guess.
I just want to laugh.
All right, the pick
Look,
is
I
in.
would almost listen. I would listen to more to Jolson than I would
Mel Kiper,
than Mel Kiper.
Matthew Golden. I'm taking on Marion if I'm the Broncos.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't go Golden.
I wouldn't be shocked, but I would go with O'Marion.
I mean, Hampton would be the pick to go with. It should be the pick.
I think he and Genty are definitely the best 2
Oh
running
my
backs.
gosh! Wasn't sure what I was looking at. Wow.
right, pick is in.
It's World Wish Month, and the NFL is
Samuel.
support the life-changing wishes that Make-A-Wish grants.
Okay.
Yes.
Talked about the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
One of those wishes will be coming true now. Sam is a 17-year-old Broncos fan who has bravely battled cancer.
Oh, wow.
Sorry to hear that.
Me too, but he's there and looking like he's in good condition. So
His wish is to announce the first-round draft pick.
that is awesome. He's getting the Make-A-Wish Foundation is giving this 17-year-old young man that's been battling cancer. His wish was to announce the Broncos' first-round pick, and he's getting it. I love moments like this in life.
That's
This is
pretty
awesome.
awesome.
This was worth watching the draft for. Like this moment alone, literally.
In the 2025 NFL Draft,
Slow
Denver
down.
Broncos
Slow down.
select Jahdae Barron, DB, Texas.
John A. Barron, defensive back for Texas. I will say that's a very good player, not a terrible move. I don't know that I could have passed on Marion Hampton. All right, Jolson, tell us how irritated you are right now. I got to hear it.
Wow. Hey, that's
Peter Dinklage.
No, Brad Williams, I think. I think that's his name. Really funny little comedian.
Okay. Johnny Barron. You know what? He's another guy, though, that I kind of wanted the Commanders
Yep.
to take.
That was Brad Williams.
Was it? Okay.
Brad Williams. Funny guy.
Not real
Curses
familiar
a little
with
more
him.
than I would care for.
Okay.
But Brad Williams.
Was it?
Brad
Okay.
Williams. Funny guy.
Not real
Curses a
familiar
little
with
more than I would care for.
Okay.
But funny dude.
5'10", 3/4, 194
No,
pounds.
he's much shorter than 5'10".
Jolson. Still talking about Brad Williams.
Hey, come on.
Jolson doesn't hate it.
Okay. Well, you have defensive players.
I mean, Johnny, and you know what? Him and Patrick Surtain as your corners,
That's not bad.
that might be a heck of a move. And we've said so many times, this draft class is so deep at running back. They may have missed on him. Wonder why Johnson is dropped. That's a good question. Why was Will Johnson not taken yet? Johnny Baron, first corner taken off the board. I really expected Will Johnson to go way before now. That's a very good point, Jolson. I don't know. Maybe there's some stuff about Will Johnson that we just hadn't heard about. Not really sure. But here's the question now. Where does Omarion Hampton go? He's still on the board. Pick number 21. I know the Steelers need a quarterback, but Hampton be a darn good fit in their
I was
system.
about to say.
He's a big, powerful, physical runner. They like running the ball, and
I
they
would
predicate on defense. Powerful, physical runner. They like running the ball, and
I
they
would
predicate on defense. I would take Hampton here.
I'd take him.
For a lot of teams, I'm going to be saying I'd take Hampton. Yeah, Jolson said he might want to get him in the second round. If Omarion's available in the second round, I don't think he's going to make it that far. I didn't think he'd make it this far, though.
Yeah. So much.
But there's so many other running backs that are in this draft class. Like I said, there's guys in the fourth round that I'm confident if the Commanders don't get Trevion, which is really who I want to see them get. But if they don't get him in the first, second round, there's got Devin Neal, R.J. Harvey, Rashard Smith. There's some very good running backs you can get late.
All right.
Later.
Well, the pick is in.
The picks is in. Jackson Dart or Marion Hampton or somebody else. If you're just joining us, welcome.
Trying to figure out. Oh, there's Jackson.
Welcome here or welcome back. If you haven't done so yet, tell us your favorite team.
He looks a little confused.
He does.
Or a little
Looks a little
stressed.
disoriented.
A little stressed.
Tell us in the comments. Are you happy with your team's first round pick, or has your favorite team not picked yet? Jolson wasn't real happy about missing out on Omarion Hampton, but Johnny Baron wasn't a bad consolation prize, I suppose. Chris and I still waiting to see what our favorite teams are going to do. Talmadge's Tennessee Titans, surprising the one with Cameron Ward. All right, Pittsburgh, the pick is in. There's your favorite, Mel Kiper. Let's invite him and Drake London over for ice cream someday.
What?
We can all meet at Ritchie's in Kentucky. Jolson can meet us there too. It'll be so much fun. That'd be a night to remember.
Who are we inviting?
Me, you, Jolson, Drake London, and Mel Kiper. We can all hang out, have some hamburgers and fries. You know how much fun that would be, Chris. We could talk about it for years.
Well, yeah, you, me, and Jolson, yeah, but I don't know about when Mel Kiper there. Okay,
And Drake London.
All right. I'll go with Drake London.
Okay, now I actually am surprised here.
D-tackle, okay.
Derek Harmon, defensive tackle.
Well,
Oregon.
you know what? They were the number one. They were the number one defense at the beginning of the season.
They were.
And it just
So
off.
this is. I'm not saying it's a bad pick.
They want to go back to the Iron Curtain.
And
I bet
I
you.
don't blame them. Wow, not that this is a bad pick.
It just wasn't
But
what we thought was going to happen.
I'm just surprised O'Marion's dropping like this. Let me say this now. Whoever the heck does end up getting O'Marion Hampton, congratulations to you that he was on the board this long.
Okay. Do you think Hampton will go to the Chargers?
If they hadn't just signed Najee Harris, I'd say that would be a perfect move. But even with Najee, maybe.
Young guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
They signed Najee pretty fast, so they must have won him. They signed him pretty fast in free agency.
yeah, but but the question is when they signed him, not just the question is, but they signed him early.
Yes.
You still have the draft. When they signed him, not just the question is, but they signed him early.
Yes.
You still have the draft to go. If you can get your hands on a stud running back,
I mean, yeah, why wouldn't you take
why wouldn't you
O'Marion
not
Hampton?
do it? I think you're getting to the point now where you're like, yeah, we go best available.
At a certain point, you got to bet on the talent and just say O'Marion's too good to pass on.
Right. Why would you do that?
And I'm just, man, I didn't think this was a possibility, but we're only 7 picks away, Washington. I didn't think O'Marion was a possibility, but I've been saying I wanted Travion Henderson, and I think he's actually a better fit for their offense. But I'd be okay if they drafted O'Marion Hampton.
Yeah.
My goodness, why wouldn't I be okay with that? Okay. Wow.
They're happy. They're
I
clapping.
mean,
They're
Derek
excited.
Harmon.
Yeah.
The defensive tackles that we've had, he's at least the fourth one.
I hope they're happy with who they drafted.
Well, yeah, they had all kinds of options. So, yeah.
Probably one of this is the really cool thing to watch the draft is the young men that get that phone call that changes their life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there are other things that I can think of that would really change your life. Accepting Christ, up the top of my list.
That's the most important decision any of us will ever make.
But it's just
In terms of earthly things, what's bigger than,
bigger than your
winning the lottery, getting drafted in the NFL,
drafted
the
in
NBA,
NFL.
any
you
major
get to go do
sport.
something. You get to do something you love doing.
You've presumably
At the
loved since
highest-
a child.
yeah,
now you're getting paid at the highest
and
level.
now you're going to get paid to do that.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we sit back and that wasn't something that we did that happened 5-6 years ago in college. Now you got the NIL,
Right.
So they were getting paid, maybe not a whole lot, but they were getting paid.
Still,
so it's a little different nowadays. But this is where you get the money. So.
Oh yeah, the NFL is still the NFL, and money aside, there's a stamp now saying you're in the best.
So I'd love for you to text Talmadge just asking how he feels about Ward, but I just didn't know. I don't know if we want to mess with
I'll wait because, and I still don't want to go into his personal business on the broadcast exactly, but I'll wait to see. I'll let him deal with what he needs to deal with, and then we'll find out.
Yeah, I just hope he's doing well.
State Farm commercial with Derrick Henry, former member of Talmadge's Tennessee Titans.
Hey, I had him last year. Let me tell you, that was awesome.
I've got him on one of my dynasties. I'm in 3 dynasty leagues currently. Got Derrick Henry on one of them.
I actually had a guy in our league came to me, offered me. This is like week 3, week 4.
Okay.
It was after his big 200-yard game. He offered me Mahomes straight up
For Derrick Henry?
for Derrick Henry.
You probably couldn't resist that, could you?
Oh, I did.
Really? I'm a little shocked. You, as a Chiefs fan, I'm a little shocked you didn't jump at that.
Dude, I wanted to win. I didn't want to lose.
That makes sense. But with Mahomes, if anything would have changed your mind, I would have thought it might have been him.
I'm not a homer. I want to win. That's
Okay.
why you're playing fantasy in the first place.
Right, well,
you
true.
want to win. You know, he paid all the money. We do an auction draft, and he paid all the money to get Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
I played a lot less
And got
Derrick Henry. And I
What'd
was
you
like,
get him for? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't think, Fred, I don't think I had the notes or anything like that anymore.
Gotcha.
But I probably paid $60 or $70 for him.
That's not a bad out of a $300.
That $300
That's
budget.
no, that's a good deal for Derrick Henry.
And I had Josh Allen at like $85 or something like that.
That's
I
actually
don't think I paid. I don't think he was in the 90s. So
that's actually not bad for Josh Allen.
yeah. And he was great all year until he fell apart in our playoffs.
True. He had a pretty huge season though, for
Yeah.
at least
Absolutely.
specifically from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
Specifically from a fantasy standpoint.
Yeah.
He's a threat to run. He's gets rushing touchdowns, passing yards, passing touchdowns.
It's great.
You love watching him play in real life, especially when he plays against Kansas City.
I got to go see him play. I was pleased to see him play against Kansas City in Kansas City. It was rough to watch because that was the famous game where idiot receivers was offsides, and we got can't remember the receiver's name. He was drafted by the Giants. If I wasn't trying to talk about him, I would have.
I was about to
I
say,
would've-
yeah,
I
I'm
would've
not
told
sure
you
which one we're talking about.
What's his name?
All right, the Chargers are on the clock. They're down to 1 minute and 20 seconds. Pick is still not in.
Kadarius Toney.
Oh, yeah.
That was that game. I was at that game. That hurt.
Yeah, Kansas City has had some great receivers over the years, and then they've had some Kadarius Tonys over the years.
Yeah. I don't know how either one of them do any of that talking as much as they do without anything to drink. How do they do it without drinking Dr. Pepper?
They must, in commercial breaks, they probably got stuff under that desk, because I wouldn't.
You think they have Dr. Pepper?
If they have any type of class at all, then yes.
It's Mel Kiper. I don't
So
think he has a class.
if he might have some Diet Sprite or Diet Right,
You know what? He looks like a Diet Pepsi kind of guy.
he could. That's possible. Maybe.
Little frou-frou.
What about some classic RC Cola?
No, he
No?
No, he
You don't think so?
No. Booger McFarland? Maybe.
Yeah.
Anybody by the name of Booger?
He can kind of drink whatever
Probably
he
drink.
wants to.
Well, yeah, he can drink whatever. He can probably catch me.
I was just say I'm not gonna tell him what to drink, but he can't.
Booger's intimidating. Anybody?
That's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna tell him what he can drink. and what he
Anybody that size, his name is Booger, is going to be intimidating.
can't. Anybody that size, you can stop right there. Chargers pick is in.
I just like the fact that
Well,
he's called Booger.
Yeah.
That just makes me.
Are they taking Omari on here?
Well, it's not a quarterback.
That would be very unlikely.
Probably not a receiver. They got Lad.
Well, but they might
Yeah.
want to add to that. That actually
Well,
wouldn't
We
be
saw who added to theirs.
Tampa Bay with the
Bay
Nick
added to it,
Buka.
so
It wouldn't shock me if they
I
take
bet
Matthew
you.
Golden.
I bet you
here.
they go with a. I bet they go with a T-back or DN.
There's still some good pass rushers on the board.
I bet because the one thing that Harbaugh likes, he wants to build from the trenches out.
Yeah,
So
he prefers
he could-
to win by running and defense.
He could go all offensive line or D line. I think it's going to go one or the other.
I wouldn't be
That's what I'm
shocked,
gonna
but
go with.
I wouldn't be shocked in another receiver here too. Because you got McConkey. But if you can get another weapon to that room,
It wouldn't surprise me, but
yeah. And they did let Josh Palmer go in the offseason. He's had a lot of
Oh, that's
injuries.
right.
But when he's healthy, he's been a pretty good receiver. He's now with Buffalo, so. Chargers pick is in.
we've been saying that for a few minutes.
I was just saying, yeah, are we going to ever find out who it is?
I might finish
That's
this.
another question.
I might finish this bowl of beans.
I
before
think
the
you
pigs
got
ever
time
actually
to.
told us.
Right. Harbaugh's celebrating. And I hope so. If you mess up your own first round pick, it's your own fault. Like you got plenty of good options.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Omarion Hampton.
Marion Hampton
You're right.
to the Los Angeles Chargers. I think this is a case where he was just too good to pass up.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, they signed Najee Harris.
Yeah.
I think they're like, how do we pass this guy? Especially a head coach and offensive coordinator that like to run the ball. They probably just said, we got to bet on the talent. He's too good to pass up.
All right. So here's the thing. Now the AFC West as it's
Ashton Jeanty
and
Omarion.
Hampton.
Yes, they do.
So this makes me wonder, what is Kansas City going to do?
5'11", 3/4, 221 pounds. I think he runs about a 4.5 or 4.4. I think he's like a 4.45. He's got pretty good speed, especially for being that big. Question is now, will he and Najee Harris be like a 50-50
Do you
split?
think they'll do a 1-2 punch like they did with Warren?
I think they will. I think they will. But here's where I was
Well, he's
going.
obviously faster than Warren.
Well, here's where I was going with that, though. By the end of the season, is Najee going to almost become less relevant? Is this guy just going to totally take over that backfield? That wouldn't entirely shock
That
me.
wouldn't shock me.
I think you got to go with a 50-50 split. This guy, he's too good. I don't care. Nothing against Najee Harris, but Omarion, to me, I think Jeanty is a better overall prospect, but not by a massive gap. Omarion would be the best running back in a lot of classes.
Yeah.
Omarion, to me, reminds me of a – this is going to be a little bit odd. I'll make a couple comparisons, but a younger, faster James Conner, just because of the size and production.
Yeah.
Even prime level Nick Chubb, but maybe a little more speed. Like, I think Omarion could be somewhere in that range. He's a heck of a running back. So I think most likely he and Najee will pretty much be an even split early on, but it wouldn't stun me if Najee only spends 1 year here, because I wouldn't be shocked if Omarion totally takes over this backfield.
I agree.
All right, the Packers are on the clock. I've heard some speculation they may take a receiver in the first round.
They could use one.
They could use one, but here's the thing. They've got
Goldie?
3 or 4 guys right now, and they can't figure out who the number one receiver. Problem is a lot of them don't stay healthy. So maybe they will take one and hope that, hey, maybe this young guy
Maybe
stays
the young
healthy.
guy stays healthy.
Joel
What's
said
Joel's got to say?
it appears that Scatterbo is a Bronco. So, all right, so now he's saying he wants Denver to take Scatterbo in the second. That wouldn't be a bad move. Scatterbo, he's a heck of a running back. He runs strong. He runs hard. He's got pretty good receiving skills. I think Scatterbo will be a pretty good player on the next level.
He definitely doesn't shy away from contact.
No. Maybe I shouldn't say a lot. There are a decent amount of people making a big deal that he ran a 4.65 at the combine. I get it. He's not Jahmyr Gibbs,
The thing is, he's not explosive, but he's just hard to bring
powerful,
down.
and he's going to fight for every yard. And I'll
Exactly.
take him. I don't care if he runs a 4.65 or not.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll take him on my team, line him up, and he's got good receiving skills. people sometimes make way too big a deal out of 40 times. I talked about draft capital earlier. I think
Yeah.
40 times is the same weight. Yes, it's important. It's a measure of the guy's speed, but it's not the defining piece either.
You mean it's not 4.21?
Yeah, no, even if it
Which,
is.
I'll be honest with you, it was kind of, look, Veach and Reed just can't help themselves when you get something like that.
Yeah.
They can't help themselves.
Well, but I'll
I'm
even
like,
say,
look, I mean,
talking about Matthew Golden running that 4.29, I'll
4.29,
say this.
Yeah.
That's great, but he's still got to play wide receiver.
Yep.
We're not competing for the Olympics. You're not sprinting. I mean, yeah, that's awesome that you can run that fast. You still got to run routes, catch passes, hold on to the ball, keep your feet in bounds. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love flat out speed like that, but that can't be all that you have.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's all Matthew Golden has, but when he ran that 4.29, everybody went crazy. Oh, is he going to be the first receiver off the board? Well, look what general managers of the NFL think.
Yep.
Teteroa went pretty early. Emeka Egbuka has already gone.
Yep.
Matthew Golden's still on the board. Again, no insult to him, but I think Egbuka and Teteroa are both better receivers as well. So,
Yeah.
still a little irritated that Egbuka got drafted when he did. I wanted him in Washington. I really, really wanted him in Washington.
How do you really feel about it?
I really wanted him Egbuka in Washington next season. I really, really did. I was hoping, and it does sound funny because I'm not necessarily a huge Ohio State fan. They're great, but I was kind of hoping to get Egbuka in the first round and Trevion Henderson in the second round. I think both those guys would fit Washington's offense really well. I was like, give Jaden Daniels those weapons. Oh, heck yes. With McLaurin.
Can't imagine what Daniels is going to do year 2.
I really am excited to see. Now, still, my biggest concern is him taking hard hits because he's just not a big muscular guy.
No.
Lamar Jackson's built a lot better. He's a lot thicker.
Yeah.
Daniels is reasonably skinny for the NFL. So he's fast and explosive. I love watching him play. But yeah, every time he takes off for the long run, I get excited. Then I'm like, okay, get out of bounds. I'll take a hard hit.
See,
Always
Green
when
Bay-
he's going to get drilled.
Green Bay's not. They still had picks not in yet. They're down to 115.
Yeah,
That must be tough.
in front of all their home fans. They could be looking to trade back here. I don't know. It depends.
I could imagine you waiting this long. I mean, I could not imagine that you're there. It is. It's
Okay, pick is in.
I could imagine
juggling
that you're
between
back and
guys at this
forth, right?
point, Yeah.
At this point, that you'd be back and forth over.
And I don't think they wanted to Marion that bad. They got Josh Jacobs and Marshawn Lloyd, so it's not like that last pick threw him into a tailspin. I wouldn't think.
I wouldn't think so, but you never know.
This is very true. All right, the Packers pick is in.
But you think if Omarion Hampton was their choice, they would have a backup.
You would have to.
Yeah,
Because you know that he's probably not going to be.
right. You'd have to go in there where you had 3 or 4 guys that you knew you wanted. This is the guy that you want at the top. This is the second guy we
Right.
take. If he's gone, then down your
Can
list.
you imagine the preparation that has to go into a night like this?
No. I mean, I know the preparation.
We just showed up to talk about it. Yeah.
The preparation we put into this.
Right.
I mean, you've got notes.
Right.
I've got a bowl of beans.
That can't compare to what these guys do,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, I'm just here. I'm just here. All right, let's see.
All right, the pick is in. Y'all ever gonna tell us what it is?
Any day.
Okay, I'm gonna eat some Pringles. I'm tired of waiting all day.
The Packer fans here dancing and singing and waiting to hear where they go. So the commissioner is finally now going to make his way out.
Will Johnson is still on the board. We've been talking to him for a while.
Yes, he is.
It wouldn't shock me for him to get taken here. Nick Emanmore, he's strong safety, South Carolina. He's another one that I want the Commanders to take potentially.
Don't blow it.
What if you just hear just a massive outpouring of booze after this?
Oh, that would be great. I'd laugh, and I don't care what the Packers do.
Me neither.
Roger. How about this atmosphere? It's unbelievable. Roger, thank you. And the
Roger, thank you.
bringing the grass here in Green Bay for the
Get to what everybody wants to hear, dude. Stop talking. I think this guy just wants to hear himself talk.
On behalf of the Packers,
He must.
Packer fans here in Green Bay, Wisconsin,
It probably feels like he's got to say a certain amount
are everywhere.
in front of the home fans.
Welcome you all to the NFL Draft at Lambeau Field. It is our honor to host this wonderful event in our community, particularly since we are the only community-owned team in the NFL.
Dude, shut up and make the pick. Jeez, you're killing your own fans.
So they are a community-owned franchise.
Yes, they are.
I maybe knew that. I don't know if I did though.
And we also want to celebrate the special connection we have with
That's actually pretty cool.
back to the early days of professional
I think I'm going to go wash my truck. I'll be back.
You got time to.
Oh, my gosh. Finally.
13-time world champion Green Bay Packers. For the first time since 2002, draft a wide receiver,
Golden.
Matthew Golden, wide receiver.
Okay.
All right.
Matthew Golden, after a 47-minute delay there. Matthew Golden, wide receiver, Texas Longhorns, to the Green Bay Packers.
Well, they, like you said, they can't keep one healthy.
Jaden Reed, I think, has the makings of being a good number
I
one
agree.
receiver.
I agree.
Christian
Christian
Watson gets hurt every year.
Yeah,
I'm
every
sorry, I don't mean to sound insensitive. He gets
It's
injured
not
every
insensitive,
year.
it's just the
It's a
facts.
fact. Who else do they have? Romeo Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks. They've got some solid receivers. Here's my question, though. Where does Matthew Golden fit in? You spend a first-round pick on him. Do you expect him to be the
Because
number
he's-
one target? Is he coming in and taking over?
He's your deep ball threat.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
deep
he's
ball
your
threat.
deep ball threat with that speed. How many target? Obviously, a lot of this is contingent upon him getting himself open and beating coverage. But
Oh, yeah.
how often will he be targeted?
The question
gonna be
is,
the question
would
here.
they use him like Kansas City used
Xavier Worthy?
You know, a lot of
They
end
might.
rounds,
End
a
arounds,
lot of receiver
screens,
screens and
sweeps
things like
and so-
that.
yeah, they might.
because they did the same thing with Rashee Rice, but a lot of receiver screens, and he ended up with 8, 9, 10 yards almost
That
every one
wouldn't
of
be
them.
a bad move.
So they kind of did a little bit of that more
Yeah.
with Worthy. So do you think they'll do that with Golden?
Honestly, if they're
It's
smart,
possible.
they probably should with that kind of speed.
And it's not because you're saying I don't believe he's just he can't play receiver.
No.
I think you're sitting there going, how can we?
How
use
can I
him
get the
as-
ball in his hands?
exactly
As much
how
as
many
possible.
times can I get that ball in his hand?
Now, here's interesting. Matthew Golden's still on stage. Minnesota's pick is already in.
Yep.
Minnesota's got the next pick. They must have really had somebody in mind here. Okay, I don't think they go running back. They just re-signed Aaron Jones. They traded
So
for Jordan Mason.
What they did is they traded back and got they're
I don't know about Minnesota. They don't really need another receiver. They got arguably
No.
the best one in the league. They've got Jordan Addison, got TJ Hawkinson. They're going to find out this year if McCarthy's the legit quarterback of the future. Pass rusher, defensive back. We're getting to the point where a lot of these teams, I think, are going to just start looking at best player available.
yep, most likely.
Matthew Golden excited,
Excited to be in
going
Green
from
Bay.
Austin, Texas to Green Bay, Wisconsin. Minnesota's already made their selection. Like I said, they made their mind up pretty fast. They probably at this point were thinking best player available, and once it started dwindling down, they're like, okay.
Well, Hampton's gone, and now he's gone. So
I can't thank God enough.
At Texas, you stepped up big.
I like to hear that. Hopefully he's sincere there. He says I can't thank God enough.
That's what you should expect from me, man. You know, I'm a reliable target, and you know I get over anywhere on the field, man. Whatever the team need me to do, that's what I'm willing to do. But I'm bringing that dog mentality, you know that.
All right, welcome home.
It's bringing that dog mentality.
Okay.
Mel, you mentioned the combine,
Sure.
4.29. That opened a lot of eyes. 58 catches, 9 touchdowns in his one season at Texas.
The 16th ranked player on my big board. Packer sitting at
On your big board, Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's big board.
20 yards per catch. 3 is with the Houston Cougars. Over a 2-year period, he had 76 catches.
Nice catch.
Yeah, if you like that.
If you like that sort of
If
thing.
you like the one-handed catch.
If you like a
over
player
the
that's got the
defensive-
speed to get open to make one-handed catches, and I guess he's okay.
Yeah, I guess that's what you kind of like.
That was another pretty nice one there.
Again, if you like one-arm
Yeah.
catches.
If you're interested in a player that can do such things.
Oh,
You know what's interesting too, though, and he may
no,
have
that's a good catch.
he may have yes it was. He may have a great career. He was not being spoken of as a first round receiver at all until the combine when he ran a 14.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but maybe that, I mean, without that, he would have been a second round pick at best.
Quite possible.
And when you look at Green Bay, it's often said that Green Bay has a lot of receivers. They got a lot of numbers.
It is often said they got a lot of receivers because they do. This may be their new number one receiver, though. I don't know. I'm not saying he's better than Jaden Reed or any of those other guys. We don't know. We haven't seen him.
So
Nathan
remind
play.
me, because I don't remember what Minnesota does, because I don't care to keep up with Minnesota. Who's their quarterback?
Minnesota, JJ McCarthy.
That's what I thought.
All right, let's see here. Jolson wants to know, would I be content with Will Johnson as a commander? I'd be very content with Will Johnson as a commander. If he's still available somehow.
It's a guard.
Donovan Jackson, guard Ohio State for the Vikings.
All right, so they're trying to build a line.
That's
around
not
and
that's
protect
not a
JJ
bad
McCarthy.
mood. It is interesting though. Johnny Barron.
I was just kind of,
Taken.
when I asked my question, I was just wondering if they had picked up another quarterback,
Oh,
or if they were gonna go with McCarthy.
McCarthy. Their backup is Brett Rippon, who's like an 8-year backup.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the only other that they have on the roster. The Giants just traded back into the first round.
Ooh.
Okay, at this point, I think Shadur Sanders goes to the
I
Giants.
think you're right.
They just traded in. New York Giants just traded in back to the first round. This is a heck of a move. They took Abdul Carter.
Yep.
Now they're trading back in. If they get Shadur Sanders, they didn't play for a year behind Russell Wilson. This is a pretty smart move. I don't know what they gave up to get here, so that we'll have to kind of hear the details. But they may have been thinking, hey, now that Shadur dropped this far, the Saints didn't take him, the Steelers didn't take him. Let's jump in and take him now.
Well, at the 25th pick, you're not paying as much.
Right. I don't know what they gave up to get here.
All right, I don't see him standing there.
That's a good point. There's
I see the dude with the
Dion.
dumb hat, but I don't see him.
Yeah.
But you would think that Dion would be
Oh,
paying attention. What is that?
Jolson says he would take Will Howard over Shadur Sanders. Ohio State quarterback Will. Honestly, Will Howard, I think, will get drafted. I see Will Howard more as a reliable career backup. He might could start some. I'm not trying to insult the guy. I don't know if he's necessarily
most wins by the quarterback in Ole Miss history.
Jackson Dart.
More
What
wins than who?
I was gonna say, I don't know. Oh, wait. Oh, Dak Prescott.
No, he's
Didn't he?
Mississippi
Oh, he
State.
played Mississippi State.
Ole Miss. I believe that was Mr. Manning, Eli Manning.
It was Eli Manning. That's
That'd be more
true.
touchdown passes than Eli Manning.
Did it say touchdown passes or career wins? It might have been touchdown
I
passes.
thought it was touchdown. Not
Jackson Dart way over Shador. They might have traded into the first round to get Jackson Dart.
Come on, back up.
We will have to see.
What did they say? I can't remember. 28 was the number. I just can't remember what they said.
That's probably wins.
I was
That would be
too busy quizzing you about who was the quarterback.
Right.
Because I most wins. I found that hard to believe that Eli Manning didn't have more.
Oh, yeah. Okay, the Giants pick is in. Surely it's one of those quarterbacks. They may have traded back in to get Jackson Dart. Jolson would take Will Howard over Shador. I'm not overly optimistic about Shador, but taking Will Howard over him might be stretching it just a little bit. And they didn't give the details unless I missed it.
They haven't said anything.
What did the Giants trade in order to get here? They may announce it when they announce the pick, unless we just somehow missed that.
And if it was a number, it would be
Be a competitive number.
You can avoid awkward salary conversations from the start.
well, a number.
Is it competitive?
Is it competitive? I'm thinking probably so, but anyways.
Now we're seeing Matthew Stafford in this commercial. I've heard some talk. Some people speculate the Rams might take Jackson Dart in the first or second round. Let him play behind Stafford for a year or two, and then he's their quarterback. That wouldn't be a terrible move, in my opinion.
No, he would learn.
That wouldn't be a terrible move, in my opinion.
No, he would learn from one of the.
I was going to say,
very
you
good-
learn from a very good
very good
quarterback. You remember where Matthew Stafford played his high school ball, Chris Black?
That was Highland Park.
In Dallas, Texas.
Yep.
That is correct.
That's about 8 blocks from my office,
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
give or take 3 blocks. But
So like 26 or 8.
yeah, pretty much. It's just what it sounds like. It's what it is. Yes. It's just down the street.
Okay. I remember when he was in high school. I remember reading in the paper. Some of y'all don't know what a newspaper is, but I remember reading in the newspaper about Matthew Stafford when he was in high school.
Who was there when he was there?
High school teammate.
I don't remember if he played football, but he
I was
played
to say,
baseball.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't think of the name. Did he play for the Dodgers?
Yeah.
I can't think of his name because I'm not a baseball fan, but I do know who you're talking about. I remember hearing about him at the time too.
Clayton Kershaw.
Clayton Kershaw, that's right.
Yes, getting old sucks.
I just don't like baseball. There's my excuse for not knowing the name, but I do remember
I
that.
would assume that he played football. I mean, most of the time when you're a kid in high school, you play football. Unless you're like me,
That's
you're
a-
small.
that's a
You were so
reasonable-
small, anyways. You just stuck with basketball.
Just taking care.
You would have got lost on a football field.
Shador Sanders.
But yes, they were. I think they were there at the same
They
time.
were there. I believe you are correct. All right, the pick is in. Oh, he does have Jackson Dart does have the career passing yards record at Ole Miss.
That's interesting.
That's impressive. All right. The pick is in. The
Sure
Giants
looks like-
traded back into the first round.
Sure looks like everybody's running away.
Yeah,
They've
well, the
done it.
Packers have drafted, so
Packers
they don't
drafted,
care.
so
They're
all
leaving. All right, they traded back into the first round for this pick. So whoever this is, they wanted
See,
bad enough to
did they
trade
give-
in.
Yeah, what did they give up?
If they said it, I missed it.
The Houston Texans have traded the 25th pick to the New York Giants. With the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Jackson Dart.
All right.
Jackson, start. Wow. Okay, I'm not surprised because I think Jackson Dart's not a good quarterback, but this is interesting. Hey, congratulations, young man. And he gets to play behind a bona fide veteran in Russell Wilson. Give him a year. Wow.
Dang, Mom's got some arms. Like she can look out.
Oh, yeah, she's going to beat somebody
She's
down.
gonna beat somebody
That's
down.
how he got drafted. She said, "You're taking my boy. Otherwise, I'm coming for you." Jolson says he knew it. Hey, you called it. You see, you take him way before Shador. Shador in round 2, that's looking very likely at this point. Way before Shador. Shador in round 2, that's looking very likely at this point. Let us know in the comments. Jolson's letting us know. Is anybody else shocked that was not Shador Sanders? How far is Shador going to drop now? Because I'll be honest, I think Shador is a good fit for New York because he was raised by Deion with all the fame around him. I think he could handle the media in New York. I actually think he'd be a good fit there. They obviously wanted Jackson Dart bad enough to trade back into the first round. So
Well,
now the question is, where is Shador going to get drafted?
You look at the fact that they had Eli Manning and they loved Eli Manning.
Ole
And
Miss
this guy,
product,
and
yeah.
this guy was better than Eli Manning.
That's actually a very good point.
So why would they not? And man, when it all comes down to it, and he's a starter, shoot, the receiver there that came out of LSU.
Oh, Malik Neighbors.
Neighbors. I wanted to say Neighbors. Neighbors is going to love him.
Oh, Jackson Dart's going to love Malik Neighbors
Oh,
too.
for sure. There'd be a love story between the two of them.
Okay, the Falcons now have another. Did they trade up or did they have 2 first-round picks somehow?
They must have traded.
They must have traded back into the first round too. Falcons pick is in. We'll find out soon who that is. Man, yeah, Jackson Dart. Hey, congratulations again. Not that I think he isn't good. There's just been so much hype when you're Deion Sanders' son. There's so much talk, about Shador. But where do you think Shador will go now at this point?
Late second, early third.
Yeah. What do you think's a likely landing spot for him?
To me, it's got to be a team that's got a solid starter so that he can learn.
Oh yeah.
Man. If I were you, I mean, if I was a bet man, I would have said the Giants because of sitting behind.
I thought that would be a good fit, actually.
But now that they've taken Dart and they kind
Hey,
of
they're rolling with Jackson Dart, yeah.
I mean, it's like, okay, now where the heck's he gonna go?
He could still go to New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, just because they ain't taking the first round, especially with him falling, they might pick him up and say, okay, now you're behind Derek Carr. We could have done this in the first round, but we rolled the dice and you're still here.
First-round quarterbacks in New York history. They drafted Phil Simms in 1979 out of Morehead State, won them a Super Bowl.
Phillip Rivers, yes, he was drafted
Yes,
by
it
the
was.
Giants and then went
And he got
to
shipped to the Chargers.
the Chargers.
Because Eli said, I am not playing for San Diego.
Yep. All right, Atlanta's pick is in.
Okay. No, never mind. Never mind. I had an idea, but then I just pretty much torpedoed my own idea.
The Rams traded out of this pick.
Yeah, they did.
With the 26th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select James Pierce Jr.,
Defensive end. They must have won him pretty bad. I'm not saying he's not a good player because he is, but they traded back in the first round to get him.
Yep.
After they took Jalon Walker with their other first round pick. So they got an outside linebacker now, defensive end. That's pretty smart because you got Penix, you got Bijan, you got Chris's favorite Drake London. You got some pretty good pieces on offense. So, they don't have Gabe Davis, but they've got Drake London. Okay, they're getting us the details of this pick. Falcons get this pick and a 25 third round. Rams got a second, a seventh, and a first next year. It's not bad.
It's not bad considering you got it.
Man, the Falcons must have wanted James Pierce pretty bad. They gave him a future first.
They're trying to put as much defense on the field as possible.
And that's not a bad idea.
Defense wins championships. I love the fly fishing vest.
Oh, yeah. James Pierce Jr. is another guy that I wouldn't have minded the Commanders taking, but I've also heard that there's kind of some character concerns in terms of how he conducts himself in the locker room and how he interacts with people. So, maybe it's okay that he went somewhere else. Now, that was pretty impressive. He pushed the offensive lineman's feet into the quarterback.
I was going to say it was the offensive lineman that.
Yeah, because he pushed him back far enough.
Tell us, Mel.
Can you get it out of him all the time? Can you count on him? Can you depend
Oh.
He's always going to be there. He's always going to answer the bell. Because if he
Is he always going to answer the bell? Is he going to answer the bell?
Let me get a vest just like that. We'll check it.
That's not a bad move.
No. You put all the little fishing.
I was going to say, you got all kinds of options. I was just say Skittles, ink pens, lemon heads. There's all kinds of options. Erasers.
Yeah. He's all set.
Fruit Loops.
Oh, Fruit Loops is the best.
Yeah, we got to cycle back to
you
that.
can feed the
And
fish
just
if you
get,
want.
you could actually. All right. Baltimore is on the clock. Shadur, you're not getting called.
We are within 2 of the Commanders. Oh, crap. Go ahead, hit me.
Daihatsu. Yep, I already
It's
know.
the Redskins, not the Commanders.
You said the Commanders.
You need to stop saying it.
Oh,
Because you made me say it.
But here's what I will say.
Boy, that's a lonely room right now.
I instinctively say Redskins a lot still because that's what they always were.
Yeah.
But I will say this, agree or disagree with me. I actually think the name Washington Commanders.
Oh, that's Anson Mount.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, he's a pretty good actor. I've seen him in some other stuff.
Hell on Wheels. He was in the TV
Yes.
show Hell on Wheels.
Yes, he was.
Amazing actor.
Yeah, he's pretty darn good. I actually think the name Washington Commanders, I kind of like the name, and here's why. The first commander-in-chief in the history of our country was a guy named Washington. So I just think Washington Commanders, it's got a good ring. I like it. I like that it commemorates our first commander-in-chief. It's got a good sound. I was okay if they kept Redskins, but if you're going to change names, I do think Commanders is a pretty good name for them.
I had actually heard a rumor that the ownership is looking to change the name back.
I've heard that as well too.
They
Then
were-
I've
they
heard
were-
them saying, "Oh, we're not doing that," but there's been
some smoke, as
Yes.
you say. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I've heard that.
Yeah.
I'd be all for that.
Hey,
So,
I don't care. Magic Johnson's owner, Jaden Daniels stays there. I don't care. All right, Baltimore's pick is in. Baltimore's another one that is on the cusp of the Super Bowl every year for the past few years. They're on the cusp of getting there.
yeah.
Obviously, they got one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They got a great running back, but I don't necessarily think with this pick, but don't be surprised if they take a running back sometime in this draft just because Derrick Henry is getting older.
He's older. He was pretty durable last year. I don't think he got hurt at all.
No, he was great last
I don't
year.
remember him being out of my lineup.
I don't think he was. And I'm a big fan of one of their backups, Keaton Mitchell. He's one of my favorite players. Fast, explosive guy. He's had a lot of injuries so far. I do want to see him explode once he gets a chance.
Yeah.
But don't be shocked if you see them take a running back maybe in the second or third round just because there's so many options.
Yeah.
With this pick, I don't know. I mean, probably why not do something else for that defense?
Yeah.
That's kind of what they're built on. there's still some solid defensive players left. So, all right, we're getting down. We're 2 picks away from the Commanders. Let me look at my notes here. Smart Stewart's gone. Mikael Williams is gone. James Pierce Jr. just got taken. Mike Green's still on the board. Donovan Ezraku still on the board. Let's see. Will Johnson's still on the board. I didn't even put him in my notes because I didn't think he'd be here. Maxwell Hairston from Kentucky. He ran like a 4.2. He ran the fastest 40 time in the combine this year. Maxwell Hairston.
Yep.
He's another one I wouldn't mind. I've already said I love Travion Henderson. Nicky Mamori, strong safety from South Carolina. Malachi Stark, safety from Georgia. I'm feeling comfortable because there's several of those guys still on the board. I didn't know how many would be left at this point. So no matter who these next 2 picks are, there's still going to be pretty good options.
Yep. The guy has a shark on his head.
He did. He does. I mean, Baltimore, Will Johnson would not be a bad move here. Also, one of these pass rushers would not be a bad move here for Baltimore. They like to get after the quarterback, so let's see what happens.
I'm going to go with the pass rusher.
Wouldn't be shocking.
Great year, but he was a heck of a football player throughout his career. I really like the football IQ here.
With the 27th pick in the 2020
The pick is in.
the Baltimore Ravens select Malachi Starks.
Malachi Starks, free safety from Georgia.
Oh, there you go. Defense.
A little irritated because at this point I was really hoping he'd be on the
You were
board.
hoping he'd fall.
Yes, but as I mentioned, there's still some guys I really wanted that are going to be on the board, so that's okay. This is a good move, man. He's one of the best safeties in the draft. This defense is what helps these guys win a lot of games in Baltimore, so definitely not a bad move. Malachi Starks. Yeah, I actually was kind of thinking he would go quite a bit earlier in the draft than he did. Malachi Starks, that is.
Showing up to work. There was video of him working out this morning before he gets drafted this afternoon. That's
Oh.
his safety in Baltimore.
Did he come down with that? That was very
That
nice.
was a nice pick.
I was going to say it was a nice play if he just slapped it away, but he came down with the ball.
His football instincts is ability to be in center field while you have Kyle Hamilton down around to be able to play the ball.
Well, they need a ball hawking safety in Baltimore.
You know, they had a legendary guy by the name of Ed Reed at one time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Malachi Starks will be the next Ed Reed necessarily,
But you need a ball.
but he's not a bad option here. In fact, he's a very good option. Our Detroit's pick is already in.
Detroit they're ready to go.
I mean, they're pretty loaded on offense, so I'm thinking they're actually got a really good defense too. They had a lot of injuries on defense last year. So I wouldn't be shocked with an offensive lineman, but I wouldn't be shocked with another pass rusher. Aiden Hutchinson is a great defensive end, but
Well, he's coming off a really
he's
gruesome
coming off a
injury.
pretty bad injury. So
The question is how is he on the mend
coming back? Yeah.
coming back? Is he going to be able to play at his
Level of
speed,
ability,
level of speed? Yeah.
Because when he's healthy, he's not quite on the level of Myles Garrett, Max
No.
Crosby.
No,
He's not too far behind. He's
he's the level below.
Yeah, he's a little bit below those guys and Nick Bosa, T.J. Watt, but he's probably the next layer
Definitely
down.
no T.J. Watt.
No, but Aiden Hutchinson when healthy is probably the next tier down, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree.
Him and then Houston's got a couple of really good defensive ends, Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil
Danielle
Hunter.
yeah.
Both those guys.
Oh, I thought he was going to reach up and give him a kiss.
It's like I'm not that excited to be here. Hey, you mentioned Josh Simmons earlier.
Yep.
It's looking more and more likely he'll be available for Kansas City.
Well, Buffalo's ahead of us to see if Buffalo's
Oh,
smart enough to
that's
take what
true.
we were looking for.
Well,
The energy vibrating off you. That was quite the hug with Commissioner Goodell. How do you describe what's going through you?
oh yeah, me and Raj, we cool. I'm ready to go. I'm hit somebody right now.
This Ravens defense was a force down the stretch last season.
Ah!
To that secondary.
Yeah, I think Malachi Starks is a great addition to a team. He'd be a great addition to any team, but a team that's really built on defense, I think this is a very good move, honestly. All right, Detroit's pick is in. Let's see who it is going to be. One fired up young man. Oh yeah, Green Bay fans are
Yeah.
doing Detroit's pick.
That's funny.
To be expected. Most of these fans have stuck around only for this moment. Let's be honest.
The best in the NFC, decimated by the defensive side, so they almost didn't have a chance.
All right, Detroit's pick is in. Oh, the blue mustache. Wilford Brimley's nephew.
Yeah, he is.
Got him a blue mustache. Okay, enchilada.
I don't even know what I'm looking at. That's
You have no words for it.
I don't have a word to describe what I just saw. It's the Day of the Dead or something, or I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not 100% sure what I was. The Day of the Dead or something, or I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not 100% sure what I was looking at there.
I feel like they're going defense here. With this
I would
pick.
think I would think they'd go defense.
They're
'Cause I think
loaded
their
at
defense-
running back. They
They're
got
they're loaded at running back.
Amon St.
They're good at
Brown,
receiver.
Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta.
Yep.
Jared Goff's not young, but he's good for a few years. I think he's like 29. I think they go defense here.
I would,
And Campbell. Dan Campbell's done a heck of a job there. with
unless
Detroit.
they go with an offensive lineman.
That wouldn't be a bad move either. We've been saying it all night. Offensive tackle, offensive guard in the first round usually is not a bad move because you got to have a great offensive line to win football games.
It's not the sexy pick. It's not what the fan wants to see.
No, but if you're a
But
smart fan, you are happy.
You
with
realize
it.
that it's a good deal.
The Detroit Lions select Tyleik Williams,
Defensive.
Tyleik Williams, another defensive tackle. This
want-
might be a
they
record
wanna
for
run-
defensive tackles in the first
They
round.
want to run stuffer is what they want.
But do you agree this might be a record for the most defensive tackles in the first
Possibly.
round? I don't know. I've never looked into that, but wow. How many is this? 5? I don't even know. All right. My Commanders are on the clock. Man, it's hard. I want Trevion Henderson, but I also know there's some other really good running backs. I'm going to say I would really like, probably at this point, man, Will Johnson would be great. Maxwell Harrison would be great. Donovan Ezeraku of Boston College. I don't know if I can pick one. Any of those guys I'd be happy with. And I'd be happy with Trevion Henderson also. But I think we can get a running back later in the draft.
We don't like somebody on the outside on the edge. What's the quickest way to get to the quarterback? We're just going to collapse that pocket inside out.
There are 4 picks remaining in tonight's first round. As of now, they go on to Washington, then Buffalo, then Kansas City, then Philadelphia.
Stuart Sanders.
Stuart Sanders here, his name called tonight, according to our draft day predictor. It was only
ESPN Draft Day Predictor said there's a 3% chance Stuart Sanders will be available at the 28th pick. Well, he's still here. Yeah, quite a change from last year. We saw 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round and no running backs. Tonight, 2 running backs so far, 1 quarterback.
If I'm looking at this right, there were 2 taken the first round. 24.
Defensive tackles.
Yep.
Wow.
Byron Murphy and Darius Robinson. 4 and 23, 2 and 22. None taken to 21.
Wow.
2 and 20. 6 and 19.
Okay, well, this wouldn't be a record, but there have been quite a few defensive tackles taken tonight. Maybe just a little more than I was expecting.
Looks like 19, maybe. If I'm reading this right. If I'm reading this, I
Okay.
mean, not a guarantee that I'm reading it right. Oh, ooh,
That would be unfortunate.
that would just be bad.
With your choice of our best plans, that's the AT&T guarantee. And right now, trade in your iPhone any year, any condition, and get up to $1,000 with your new iPhone.
You know, I just recently traded in my phone with AT&T. True story.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I did that. I kind of called them on that. I didn't know. I was like, okay, so I can do a trade in any phone. I had like a Galaxy X9.
Okay.
I traded in for a Samsung Galaxy S25. Didn't have to pay anything.
Wow.
That's a legitimate deal they gave me. They said, okay, yeah, this qualifies. You get up to 1,000. This phone's less than that. Boom. Charge me nothing. I turned that phone in, walked out with a Galaxy S25.
Not
Didn't have to
bad.
pay anything. Didn't have to pay a difference. I was quite okay with that.
Yeah, that is helpful. All right, your Commanders pick us in.
All right, let's see what we got here. Irvin Magic Johnson, Joshua Harris, Adam Peters. What are we doing? There's plenty of good options here, so I'm actually feeling pretty good about a number of ways that this could go.
Welcome back.
Oh yes, they're very excited to tell us about the schedule being released on May 14th.
Yeah, they're super
I mean, that's
excited.
great. The schedule's got to be released at some point, but I'm sorry, that doesn't get me just overly excited. Because again, the schedule's going to come out. I'm not that worried about
I get more excited about OTAs than I do a schedule.
it. Yeah. OTAs, how are people looking in training camp? Is anybody injured? What are some depth chart moves you're not expecting? The schedule's going to come out when it comes out.
Yeah.
I'm not really that concerned, to be honest.
All right, here we go.
Okay, there's a few guys I'd be excited about here. Let's see. Number 29.
Wow.
I'm just
Look at the Hogs.
Oh yeah. I'm just happy they have a 29 pick. Like they did well enough in the season to
Yeah.
where they're not picking till now.
Right.
They had the number 2 overall pick last year.
There you go. Laramie Tunsil, Tebow.
I was very happy
Javon
with
Kinlaw.
both of those trades. All 4 of those moves I'm okay with, but Laramie Tunsil I was the most excited about.
Yeah.
And Deebo Samuel, still at this stage of his career, all they gave up was a 5th round pick. I'm definitely happy with that.
Yeah.
He's a solid. I do hope they can get another receiver in this draft. I'd love to see Jaden Higgins a little bit later, wide receiver out of Iowa State. Now that Emeka Egbuka's not on the board,
It's okay.
I'm going to get over it at some point, I think. Well, we'll see. May not be tonight. May not be this season. We'll see.
At some point,
Just
I'm
got
gonna
to
have
wait
get
and
over
see.
it.
And at some point, I'm just going to have to live with it. Actually, I'm going to start living with it right now because this is it. This is how it is. All right, Washington. Who we got? Who you got here?
Washington Commanders select Josh Carnley Jr.
Oh, offensive tackle.
Okay. He
That
was
was-
not one of my main picks.
He was one I was wondering
But-
if he'd be there at 31.
But
But Simmons is still there.
protect your greatest asset. Protect Jaden Daniels.
Yep.
I'm okay with this. If
Yep.
it seems like I'm not elated, I'm not screaming and whatever, he wasn't one of my favorite choices. But good pick. You need offensive line, and I definitely trust Adam Peters' judgment. He's done a great job as the general manager so far. So you know what? Congratulations, Josh Carnley Jr. Welcome aboard. I am happy about it. We had a lot of good options at this pick, though. So there's Adam Peters in the – well, he just kind of stepped off screen there.
Yeah. I didn't think
6'4" and
I-
5'8", 311.
He's a big human.
He is indubitably. Now they got he and Laramie Tunzel on that in those tackle spots.
So this makes me think that they're going to take, or they'll end up taking Josh Simmons.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
That would not be a bad move. Man, he gave
Unless he goes to Buffalo.
He very well could. All these teams at this point, I think you almost
gonna
just
go
go
the
best
best player.
available player because all these teams, I mean, Buffalo, then you got Kansas City, Philadelphia. You got the 2 Super Bowl teams, and then another one that's on the cusp every
So
year.
we have 3 picks left in this draft tonight.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't think we'd last this long.
You didn't think we could make it this far?
No, I did not.
Man.
I'll be honest, people. I didn't think we'd get past the top 10.
Oh, I had no doubts. I'm almost stupidly confident sometimes, but hey, I had no doubts whatsoever.
Well, young man there, he's super excited. Look at that.
He must be Josh Connerly's nephew or something.
Something. He's super excited. He has no idea why he's excited.
No, somebody
But he's
told
just
him it's
jumping up
on
and down.
3. Get excited, start jumping and screaming. That's the neighbor's kid. They just paid him to do that.
Yeah.
Here's a bowl full of Fruit Loops. Get excited on you.
Well, they gave him a bowl of Fruit Loops this late at night. The doggone it, he's all sugared up.
Why wouldn't he be
He ain't
excited
going to
like
bed
that?
for like another 3 hours.
All right. Josh Conley Jr., I'm excited about you. Sorry I didn't get a little more happy sooner.
Yes,
Had some other guys that I was a little more.
He's very disappointed.
Yeah, I just
You're-
ruined his night
Yeah.
because he knows who I am and he doesn't know what to do now.
He's a subscriber. Did you know that?
No, but thank you, Josh Conley Jr.
I looked that up.
Yeah, well, hopefully he will be after tonight.
Oh, look, there's a Cowboy fan. Oh, darn.
All right, Buffalo is on the clock. I don't know who they're going to. I mean, honestly, Will Johnson, I'm pretty
I'm
stunned
shocked he's
that
going
he's still
this-
available.
yeah.
So at this point, I almost don't know why Buffalo wouldn't take him. I would have been great with Washington taking him. Yeah, Azare Thomas, Donovan Ezeraku, defensive end that I said I wanted Boston to take. Boston College, he's available. So let's find out. Buffalo's pick is in. Then again, they might talk for 17 more minutes before they tell us who it is.
I hope not.
Chris, you got to work tomorrow too? Okay, yeah. Me too.
Got to work tomorrow. I'm tired.
He reminds us in many ways what Patrick's looks like when he came out of Alabama.
Oh, that is one colorful young lady. All blue and red.
Like one of those, what do they call bomb pops?
Yes.
You remember those?
Yes.
May not know what a bomb pop is for our
You
audience,
don't.
but
Go Google it.
yeah, they're actually pretty darn good. I bet Booger McFarland's had some bomb pops in his life. Seems like you would know what that is, right? I mean, why wouldn't he?
He's from the South. Yes, he would.
All right. There have been some surprises tonight. The first one came early. Jaguars wanted Travis Hunter bad enough that they traded up for him. Shedeur Sanders still has not been drafted, which honestly, I'm not that shocked. Giants wanted Jackson Dart bad enough to trade back in the first round. The Falcons wanted James Pierce Jr. bad enough to trade back in the first round. So there've been a few surprises here. O'Marion Hampton fell to, what was it, pick 22?
21 or 22.
21 or
something like
22 to the Chargers, who signed Najee Harris in the offseason.
I
So
think 22.
they didn't even need a running back, but my goodness, they were smart enough to go ahead and sign him, draft him, whatever. All right, Buffalo's pick is in. Are we going to actually hear about it now?
And we can see the commissioner making his way to the podium with a very special visitor.
I was just say, yeah, who's this young man? We'll find out
The
here.
NFL is stepping up to have an even greater impact as a wish maker for Make-A-Wish.
Another Make-A-Wish reward. I love it.
We have the opportunity to grant a wish for a deserving young man to announce the first pick for his favorite team.
I don't know if I've ever seen this twice in one first round.
He's not going to be able to get to the
He's excited. I love it.
get up to the mic. I don't think is he.
He'll probably have to get the mic. Goodell will probably have to get the
I-
mic to him.
I figured Goodell would hold the mic.
Yeah, I think is what he'll have to do.
He's a huge Buffalo Bills fan,
Hmm.
and he's here with me.
No, I thought he was a Eagles fan.
Yeah. Maybe he is going to be able to reach. Okay,
Oh, good.
here we go. Help him out there, Roger. All right. All right. This is awesome.
With the 30th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Maxwell Harrison. Let's go!
Maxwell Harris.
Maxwell Hairston, cornerback from Kentucky.
All right.
2 years in a row now, Buffalo has drafted a player from the University of Kentucky. They took running back Ray Davis last year. Now they have Maxwell Hairston. As I said earlier, I forget the official time, but Maxwell Hairston did run the fastest 40 time at the combine this year. So got a lot of NFL potential. Buffalo, this is a pretty smart pick. He's another guy I kind of wanted Washington to take, but I'm okay with Josh Conley Jr. I really am.
I don't think you are.
I'm talking myself into it. You know, there were some other guys.
You're gonna have to go home and pray about this.
I am, and then I got to work tomorrow. I got to get some sleep.
Yeah.
Kansas City traded the pick to Philadelphia. Kansas City just swapped with Philadelphia. They
Come on.
must want somebody that they.
Come on, don't do this to me, Clark. I got to be in the office in the morning. He's out of town. He's in Kansas City.
I would imagine so.
He's in Kansas City. It's okay.
Yeah, but they must have wanted somebody bad enough to, because why trade up one pick?
So, yeah,
That's an interesting move.
That's very interesting.
Because almost anybody you want, I mean, you're
They're
going to roll the
almost
dice on
saying
being
that
available.
Kansas City that they think Kansas City was going to take their guy. That's you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you couldn't have waited one more
You
pick.
couldn't wait a pick. So,
Who did they want bad enough? We'll find out here pretty soon.
We'll find out in 5 minutes.
All right, Maxwell Hairston to the Buffalo Bills. Good addition to that defense, I think.
Last year, that was 24th in the NFL. Now let's take a look at Max Harrison. Yeah, I got that great.
He's not the biggest guy. 5'11", 183. Certainly not the biggest guy, but they may say his 40 time. We'll see.
Did Jolson go to sleep on us?
He may have.
I
He hasn't
seen-
commented in a while. A
seen
Kentucky
it.
guy just got drafted. Jolson, if you're with us, what do you think about Maxwell Hairston?
Nope.
Oh, there he comes on the corner blitz. Nice strip sack there. Oh, that was nice athleticism there.
Well, it helps that he threw it late.
That did help a lot. It gave him some time to recover. That was nice.
I'm not saying that what he did
Wasn't
wasn't
impressive,
impressive,
but yeah.
but it was just
He had more hang time.
that sucker. That ball was thrown up there way late.
All right, Philadelphia's pick is in.
All right.
Who
let's
did
see
they
what
want
got.
bad enough to trade up, and what did they trade to
I mean,
get there?
I couldn't imagine they really did anything other than swap the pick.
Probably
like,
just
We're
that.
going to give you
but
another fifth round draft.
what else
No,
would they
I
throw
just-
in?
I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Uh,
don't know.
let's see.
Down to the stage where Molly has
We're still talking to Hairston.
Max, you told me that you were going to practice that handshake with Roger Goodell in the mirror. How do you think you did?
That's funny.
You almost lifted me up on a hug, but I think I did good.
I guess if you only get that moment once in your entire life, you want to make it count, right? You
That's
wanna,
cool. That's cool.
That's pretty
Very
interesting.
cool.
The ultimate teammate, and then getting somebody that's going to give Josh Allen the ball back.
He's a
He has a infectious laugh.
He does. I like his his
He came prepared.
exuberance here. Yeah,
He came
he
prepared.
seems like a pretty cool young man there.
Yeah.
Just a little bit we're seeing.
Yeah, very cool.
You know, the NFL draft makes for a strange bedfellows. Kansas City and Philadelphia met in the Super Bowl just a few months ago. Now they swapped picks here.
So it sounds like they just swapped picks.
Sounds like they just swapped picks. Well, Kansas City must not have had anybody they wanted too bad. And I mean, you trade back one spot. It's not a big deal.
That or you basically had that conversation of who you drafted. I'm drafting this guy. Okay,
Yeah, so who cares?
flip-flop
Go
and I'm-
ahead. Yeah.
But I still don't understand why they would have flip-flopped if they could have got their player that they wanted.
Yeah.
Unless they thought that Kansas City was going to.
That's what I'm saying. Philadelphia must have thought that they needed to do this because
Or why flip?
why would you do it?
Why would you
I
do
mean,
it when it's only one pick?
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who they get here. I mean, Philadelphia, they're loaded on offense. Obviously, they got arguably the best running back currently.
Yep.
They got a very good quarterback, especially for that offense. And they've done a good job structuring their offense around Jalen Hurts' strengths.
Yep.
They got one of the best tandems of receivers.
Yep.
An aging but still pretty good tight end. They got probably the best offensive line in the league.
Yep.
They got a very good defense. They're pretty loaded. So I just don't know. I'm waiting to see
It
who
would
they
have to be
pick
on the defensive side of the ball, even though they got a good defense.
Yeah.
Because their defense in the Super Bowl, they won that.
That's
because
why
they're-
they won the
They
Super
won it
Bowl.
because of the defense.
Oh, their pass rush kept Mahomes,
Well, their
kept
pass
him
rush
off.
was nothing more than the four guys on the line.
Exactly.
They never blitzed from any other position.
They didn't need to.
They didn't have to. I'm really at a
This
loss.
is-
Unless
this
they're going
is-
with an offensive lineman too. That's the only thing I can think of is they're going to go for Josh Simmons.
Well, maybe.
Something I can think of.
Yeah, but this will be interesting to see.
You might have heard of going through a little upgrade by tax. So when Verizon announced that everyone gets a free phone on any plan, paid free.
Oh, yeah, we know all about that.
Yeah.
All right. It's been an interesting night, though.
It has. I won't say to all those beans.
I've barely even gotten into this canister of Pringles. It's still up to here. I've only had a few. Haven't really needed them. There hasn't been. Early on there was that big trade.
Outside of that,
trading up.
outside of that, there hasn't been any real excitement other than
The two
couple
teams trading
trading
back into the first
But
round.
they didn't
Yeah.
really give up a ton. But that was exciting, them jumping back in.
Yeah, I told you that they really wanted Jackson Dart and James Sears Jr. respectively.
Yeah.
Or you don't jump back in like that. And when Dion and Shador saw the Giants trade back into the first round, how shocked do you think they might have been when Jackson Dart's name was then called?
Yeah.
They surely had to be thinking, here we go.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I still think
somebody else's name you throw, and it's like, crud.
I still think New Orleans with the second round pick is a decent move, a decent spot for Shador.
Yeah.
Because, again, he can play behind Derek Carr, maybe only for a year. Actually, I'll throw this out there. Las Vegas with a second round pick's not a terrible move because Geno Smith's not young. Okay, the Chiefs received, and they did throw in a fifth round. That was a good move for Kansas City.
Yeah, no
you only
kidding.
be back one spot and you get
Move
an
one
additional
spot
fifth
and
round
you-
pick.
So
Who did Philadelphia
I think-
want
I
bad
think
enough
Philly
to do
wants-
that?
I think he wants Josh Simmons.
Unless they wanted Will Johnson, who's already fallen.
True.
And they afraid Kansas City might
Linebacker,
take
right?
any corner from
That's
Michigan.
Right. That's right. Corner.
We will find out. Yeah,
It'd be
Maxwell
one of those two
Hairston is
guys.
now gone over him.
I get one of those two guys.
With the 31st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jahad Campbell, linebacker.
Wow, Jahad Campbell, inside linebacker, Alabama.
Didn't see that one coming.
Not really. Although, he's a heck of a player. He's another one that I wouldn't have minded Washington taking. But I'm a little shocked. I'll say this, though. in terms of like off the ball linebackers, middle linebackers, he's probably the best in this class.
Yeah.
So maybe they thought we're not risking. We'll give up a 5th round pick to make sure we get him. Clearly, I mean, they had to think that.
Last
Huh.
pick in the first round.
All right. So you think Josh Simmons is on the board? Is that who you really want? Would you rather have him or Will Johnson, cornerback?
Either one of
at this
those
point?
two. You know, we just signed a quarterback from the Chargers. I can't remember his name on top of my
Oh,
head, but-
Asante Samuel?
No, from the
The
Chargers.
Chargers.
I think it was Chargers.
I don't remember.
Fulton.
Oh, okay.
Fulton. So they've got McDuffie on one side, Fulton
Yeah.
goes to the other side. That allows, I think it's Jamari Connor goes from playing that outside.
He can play in the slot.
He plays the slot,
Yeah.
which is where he's better, and he was getting burned a lot on the outside. So it's better for him to move inside. So they it could be Will Johnson.
Well, Johnson's definitely not a bad pick here. Then again, neither would be Josh Simmons.
Yeah. They need offensive line help, but
Jahad Campbell's got to be pretty excited here. He dropped this far, but now he's playing for the defending Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
And they wanted him bad enough to trade a 5th round pick away to get him.
all right. Well, our pick's in, so that didn't take long.
Kansas City, I mean, yeah. They had to have their options pretty well down at this
They
point. I
they
think.
had to know this is what they were doing. And we trust.
That was the Eagles' NFL high 11th trade involving a first-round pick since he took over in December of 2015. And he is standing by now. And when I say he, Jahad Campbell is standing by with Molly. Verizon Business takes us down to the stage. Molly.
Jahad, the defending Super Bowl champs just traded up for you. How will you repay their belief in you?
I'm gonna give him 110%. Everything I got.
It's not possible.
The Richard just got rich.
The Richard just got rich.
Experience. What is it like standing up here?
It's supposed to be the rich just got richer.
I mean, yeah, he kind of said that a little bit backwards. He's a little bit excited right now, I think.
Hopefully he spelled Eagles right. That was the bad thing about a lot of their fans couldn't spell Eagles. In fact, the mayor misspelled.
Oh, I
Eagles.
didn't even hear about that.
Oh, go Google it. It's embarrassing. How you can be a public figure and not be able to spell your own football
First of
name.
all, a name as simple as Eagles. And
Eagles.
then, your own.
She was like EGLES or something like that.
Yo,
So it's totally missed
sit
the A or
down.
something like that. I was just like going, really?
Oh,
That's impressive that you did not know how to spell. That's incredible.
well, you know she can't spell incredible. She can't spell Eagles.
Wow, she definitely can spell incredible. Maybe she could spell snackable.
I highly doubt it.
No, probably not.
I bet I could hold this can in front of her and dare her to spell Pringles. I don't even know this person, but that's
You can
what you
hand this
told
in
me.
front of her and said, I dare you to spell chips.
PRIN.
All right.
Final pick of the first round.
Clark.
We are at 3 hours and 46
Big Red.
minutes and 13
Brett.
seconds. Chris Black.
I look at a kid, we talk about injuries, right? Jahad Campbell, how about Josh Simmons at Ohio State? Left tackle, played great football, so he had to be injured.
Extension of Josh Campbell.
It could
Josh
be the knee
Simmons.
injuries what scared everybody.
Yeah, I could see that, but I mean, a lot of times that doesn't end a career. I mean, it's
No. But a lot of people just kind of
you shy away, especially with the
from
first
things
round
like that.
pick.
Yeah.
That's off the Super Bowl is when he went to Texas. You got to make sure the kid's protected. There has to be some form of protection from all.
No, I was just gonna say, just to feedback off of Josh Simmons.
But considering they desperately need an offensive line to protect Mahomes, it's that's why I just think it's Josh Simmons.
It would not be surprising.
Now that Conley's gone, it's to
Yeah.
me it's just it has to be Simmons.
in Greenback.
With the 32nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Kansas City Chiefs select Josh Simmons.
All right.
Tackle.
Not a shocker
Not a
at all.
shocker
Josh
there.
Simmons, Ohio State,
Well, this,
offensive tackle going to the
these
Kansas City
guys didn't
Chiefs.
like the draft pick. They're morons.
And
They have no
they
idea.
aren't maybe the most educated. I don't
Yeah,
know.
they're not
We've been
very
saying it all
educated.
night. Fans may not like offensive linemen, but you have to have a great
But you gotta
offensive
have
line or you don't have a great offense.
No,
I don't care what weapons you have. If you don't have a great offensive line, you
Your
just aren't going
quarterback
to do
is-
very much.
Your quarterback's running for their life.
And I don't care how good they are. All right. This has definitely been our longest episode to date. 3 hours, 48 minutes. I haven't gotten up to use the lavatory once.
No, you haven't. And
I'm
I'm very impressed.
That's actually the most shocking part of the night for me. I was sitting here thinking at some point I'm just going to have to step away. It's going to be inevitable. I've drank plenty of Dr. Pepper, 2 glasses full, and a full glass of water. Don't know how, but somehow, all right. So thank all of you that joined us. My cousin Wheat chimed in quite a lot for us. Thank you there for being involved. Thanks to everybody who stopped by. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. It will definitely help enable me to continue to bring you this type of content as well as many others. If you're not a subscriber and you stopped by, awesome. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out with us while we enjoyed the NFL draft. Still 2 more days of the draft. We will not be live streaming those because we do have jobs to go to and other
lives.
things to take care of. Yes. But thanks to all of you that stopped by. For Chris Black, I am Jared Johnson, the Jared J. Y'all have a great week. Hope I see y'all again real soon. Fruit
See ya.
Loops.
And they've had some success, and they've had some misses. This guy.